Hello, and welcome to the Dead Spot Cinema Club, the podcast where we guide each other through cinematic journeys we should have taken a long time ago. We find movies that we all really should have seen by now, and we get whoever hasn't to watch it and review it. So please join me, Andy, Amy,
Hello,
Rhys,
Yeah, what's up?
and Mark
Hello.
as we watch The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. Directed by Peter Jackson, this is the epic conclusion to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, based on J.R.R. Tolkien's legendary novels. Jackson, who had previously been known for smaller cult films like Heavenly Creatures and The Frighteners, became the driving force behind bringing Middle-earth to life on a massive scale. The film was released in December 2003 with a budget of $94 million, which was the same budget as The Two Towers and slightly more than The Fellowship of the Ring. But considering the trilogy was filmed simultaneously over an 18-month period, the scale of what has been achieved is mind-blowing. But let's not spoil that for Rhys just yet. The Return of the King went on to gross over $1.1 billion worldwide, making it the most profitable of the trilogy. It was a cultural phenomenon at the time, and at the 2004 Academy Awards, it pulled off a clean sweep, winning all 11 categories it was nominated for, including Best Picture and Best Director. That's tied it with Ben-Hur and Titanic for the most Oscars ever won. For those of you who have listened to the previous podcasts, you'll know that it's all my dad's fault that I'm into The Lord of the Rings. I can't remember if I actually went to see it with him, but chances are I did. He was just as excited to see The Return of the King as I was. I've probably only seen the theatrical release maybe once, but then the extended version way too many times to count, using it as background noise just in my life. So Mark, what experience do you have with the film?
I'm pretty sure I went to see it in the cinema. Can't remember who with. It may have been my own dad, may have been some friends. But yeah, it's like you saw theatrical once or twice, rented it on Blockbuster a couple of times after it came out, and then once I'd bought it, the extended edition, that was just on all the time. I think I watch it at least 2-3 times a year. It is my favourite of the trilogy.
Okay. And Amy, what about you?
Yeah, again, I would have seen this one in the cinema day one when it came out. And then by that point, we were in the routine of as soon as the normal DVD comes out, watch that for a year. And then normally around a year later, when the extended came out, that was bought and watched. I don't think I've seen this one as much as the others, purely because I sometimes kind of go, oh yeah, let's watch the first one, the second, then I forget and do something else by the third one. But it's still one that I've seen countless times.
Rhys, before we get to you, do you need a recap of the previous film or not?
I think I'm all right. It's not like after the first one where it was like the shittest film ever made and nothing happened. So because it's this one, I actually enjoyed the second one quite a lot. So it's quite fresh in my memory. Because I enjoyed it, I replayed it in my head a couple of times. I will probably also watch it again before I watch the third to really spike my memory because I just enjoyed it. So I think I'll be all right memory-wise, if I'm honest.
Okay, that's good. So what's your impression of where The Return of the King will go then compared to The Two Towers?
No clue. I didn't know it existed until very recently. So I never even knew this was a trilogy when we started doing this, if I'm honest, wise. I knew there was some movies. I didn't think I'd be 2 films deep and still be on the same quest. I thought there would be a whole ring saga and then like phase 2 would be a different thing that the guys were up to, and then like by the third one we're in the multiverse and we're chilling. I didn't think we'd still be on the way to Mordor, so I'm losing confidence that things are going to develop much. And I don't know if there's a 4th or a 5th or a 6th where we're still on the way to Mordor. I don't know, and don't tell me. All I know about what there is I know there's now these 3. I know there's some Hobbit films. For all I know, there's also a 4th. So I don't even know if I'm going to get closure on this fucking ring or this volcano. I just imagine that we're still in a place where Frodo and my dude Samwise and the little Gollum, they're off in the wilderness. Oh, they're about to go after that. Oh shit, what was it called? Minas Mogul. They're going to Minas Mogul. I think Gollum is already leading him into a trap. I think he's going to take him to this female presence they're talking about in Minas Mogul, and Gollum's going to turn out to be like working for this big bad in Minas Mogul, and Frodo's going to nearly die there because of that. Sam's going to rescue him because Sam's the best and carry him basically the rest of the way like he's carried him the whole 2 films. So I'm guessing we're still going to have kind of a plot, if you can call it a plot, where they're just journeying through then I think there has to be a new baddie, because so far we've just had Saruman in 2 movies and then the Uruk-hai and the Orcs in 2 movies. Like, there hasn't been a different threat. The Uruk-hai and the Orcs are still just axe-wielding, barbarian-y types, albeit in the second one they had a bomb, which was really cool. And then Saruman's just, he's not a threat anymore, because you've just got Saruman who kind of gets cancelled out by Gandalf. So I think we need a new baddie. So I'm going to go with this is when Sauron manifests as like a guy. So I think fuck these names, man. Sauron is gonna be a guy, and he's gonna come swinging his Power Ranger sword and like really trying to fuck shit up, and he's gonna be like big and tough and Thanos-y, and he's gonna be this massive threat. And I think there's gonna be more focus then on like the combat guys, like the Gimli and Aragorn and Legolas. I think there's gonna be like a big close quarters fight between them and a big bad, and I want that to happen. I'm up for that. I don't think much developed with Gimli, did it? And I don't think much developed with Legolas. All they've really been doing is picking off orcs and Uruk-hai. That's kind of their purpose. It's just been to kind of stave them off with arrows and swords. But then we learned a bit more about Aragorn and where he's from. As far as I remember, they're all still together. Whether they're going to go on and split further, I'm not sure, or if they're just going to go on trying to kind of provide some support from another area to the journey to the volcano. But they're all in Helm's Deep now, right? All those guys.
Yeah, that's right.
And as far as the map was showing, that's like right down at that southwest corner, yeah?
Yeah.
Whereas the place they're going to burn the ring is southeast. So I can only imagine they're going to have to cheat to catch up. I don't even know who the fucking king is. It's called Return of the King. The only king I know is that one that had worm tongue in his ear. So is it him? That's the only king I know. I thought he was just a bit of a side character. Maybe he's going to be a big deal. So I'm going to take a stab because I haven't met another king. I think that has to be King, like Wormtongue's mate.
Wormtongue doesn't have any mates.
Not anymore. But that one that de-aged, I think he's going to become a big deal because it just makes sense because they've just helped a lot in Helm's Deep. You know, as people are going to be like all reinvigorated because they've won this big fight against the orcs. And then I think they're going to become a massive part of the effort to help with this overarching quest about the ring. Although I'm not convinced that's still the biggest priority, but never mind. Do I think the ring is going to get to where it's meant to be is the big question. Because I thought it was going to. 2.5 hours into this journey, I'm going to say no. I think at the end of Return of the King, there is still a ring in Frodo's possession that needs to find its way to a volcano. That's going to be my last prediction.
Interesting. Anything about your favourite characters? Merry, Pippin and Treebeard?
I hope they fucking die, and I hope they die early, because I want to enjoy this movie. With the trees, I don't know where they ended up at the end of the tree situation, because the trees went and kicked ass with their kind of them sitting on top of them. So I don't know where they are at the moment, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, the film ended with them in Isengard, so we'll see where they are at the start of the next film.
Isengard is where the eye tower is, isn't it?
No, Isengard is Saruman's tower.
Yeah, the eye tower.
No, that's Sauron. Saruman the White, Sauron is in Mordor.
The power tower. Gotcha.
Power towers. You remember? 2 power towers.
Yes.
Yeah, there was 2 towers. I don't know if that was clear.
They could have made a bigger deal out of the towers.
Yeah, I could have mentioned there was 2.
So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with them. I can't imagine I'm going to grow to like them anymore because there's fuck all to them, and they seem just to continue to annoy me by being comic relief where it's not needed. Because Gimli is my comic relief, and I love him with all my heart.
So, some warnings then. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to raise to Rhys beforehand? Like, has the film aged well, or is there anything that you think he should be aware of before going into it?
I'll warn him straight off. I think we've told him before, but this is the longest film in the Lord of the Rings trilogy so far.
How long is this one?
Over 4 hours, I think. I can't remember exactly, but
It's 4 hours and 23 minutes.
oh.
I wish we had cameras on now because that face was amazing.
4 hours. I've got a child. I'm guessing there's an extended edition I'm watching as well, is there?
Yes, you're watching the extended edition. You are, yeah.
Yeah, cheers, guys. You know, historically, present company excluded, of course, Lord of the Rings was for fucking virgins. I'm starting to think that wasn't causality in the way that people think. I think it was because people didn't have time to go and have all the sex because they were too busy.
It's still going to introduce new characters, so prepare to learn names.
I think I'm ready for new characters. Yeah, I think I'm ready. I think I've got everyone that seems to be a big character. I've got the hang of now, I think.
I think you'll like this one. There's a lot more action, a lot more payoff for all the storylines. I think you may be surprised by some character development, but it's generally a lot more action packed and exciting, I think.
Okay, nice.
This is the same kind of vein as the last two films. There's nothing that drastically veers off in this film. If you're okay with what you've had so far, you'll be okay with what's coming up.
Massive racism.
Yeah, if you're okay with massive racism, you'll be fine.
It's the name of the game.
There is some interesting CGI in this. We'll see if it's aged well or not, but I'm sure we've discussed one in particular already in the previous episode.
Okay. You said this is filmed 2 years after the last one, wasn't it? So
Nope. It
no.
was released. No, all three films were filmed at the same time in 18 months.
What?
Yeah.
So how the fuck did Sean Astin put on so much weight in the second one?
Maybe they filmed those parts first before they made him walk around New Zealand.
I think those bits were callbacks. So they did those 18 months, did bits of it, and then just before to do
Or like reshoots.
this little, yeah, kind of like this extra bit that I've just thought about. So that was when he was called back for them.
No, that's wild. I don't know why you would do that. Why you would film them all at the same time.
budget, I guess.
Stops people aging.
Yeah, I think he had quite decided which scenes were going to be in what film. It doesn't quite line up with the books.
Yeah, some of them are shifted.
Yeah, to make it more chronological as opposed to bookological.
Because with the book, you read all of like Aragorn, Gimli, all their story for the first half of the book, and the second half of the book, you go back to the start again, especially for Two Towers, and then you do Frodo and Sam's journey, which is a really hard read when you're like, well, I've just done the fun bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, I
Now
might
I'm-
just skip the
now I-
second half of the book.
Like, yeah, now I get to go back again, do it all again, but with these guys.
So, if no one's got anything else to say, shall we go and watch Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King?
Yeah, just give me like 4 months to fit it into my schedule. This is going to be a big one, isn't it?
Me and Andy are just going to be putting it on for like the second time this month. Just
Well, I'm going to try and watch Two Towers as well, so that's 3 hours. So I'm going to need to find 7 hours somewhere.
yeah, and then you may as well do Fellowship of the Ring first, just to build up.
I think I'll never watch that again in my entire life. I think if I do rewatches, I'll probably just watch a quick YouTube summary on Fellowship or just listen to our podcast.
Okay, well, we're just going to go and watch Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and we'll be back in a minute, so be in a sec.
4 hours.
It'd be longer than a minute.
Bye.
Bye.
Wish me luck.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
We have returned. We've just watched Return of the King, and Rhys, what did you think? How was it compared to your expectations?
I straight up fucking loved it, is going to be my first point. Yeah, really, really enjoyed this one. Took me a couple of sittings. It was real long, but Two Towers set me up for something I was going to enjoy, and I was really happy.
Out of curiosity, how many sittings did it take?
Just the two. The first night I tried, I managed about an hour and 10, and then there was sort of a logical place to stop. And then the next, it was like a full 2 hour 50 slog. I barely needed to pause during that time. It was kind of all go for that last 2 hours 50, so I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, when Amy and I watched it, we realised we hadn't seen this film in a fair few years because it was still shrink wrapped after we lost our last one. Mark, how long ago did you last watch Return of the King?
I watched it again for this about a week ago, but before that, I think I probably watched it start of the year, end of last year. Tends to be around Christmas. I watch them all again.
Okay, so still quite fresh for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Because Amy, how did you feel about watching it after such a large gap?
It was good. I didn't realise it had been so long until I realised that we've not had other copies since we moved in together about 10 years ago. And it means that we've watched the first two a couple of times and just never got round to this one again. But I was excited to see if I'd forgotten anything was different to what I remembered. And it was good.
Because there was such a large gap since last time I've seen the film, a few things surprised me still, which was quite nice to see. But we'll get into that as we go through Rhys's beautiful review.
Bro, I forgot. I've just, as you were talking then, I was just coming to the realization that I've actually forgotten everything that happened. And I only watched this 2 days ago. I finished watching this and I've forgotten it. Not in a bad way, but just I'm now blurring all of the films together in my head. I have a question before I get started. Is this it? Is this all the Lord of the Rings films? Is there a fourth movie that logically is the next one, or is this a group of 3?
This is a group of 3.
Okay. I didn't know that going into this. I've heard the term trilogy, but didn't know if that was referring to this 3 or another 3 or something. So in my head, I can kind of close a bit of a loop having seen this one, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're all good.
Am I right in thinking this is the latest in the timeline the films go?
Yeah. Hobbit came first, then Lord of the Rings, and then he was planning a sequel, but he didn't. So any other questions before we get into your review, Rhys?
I don't think so. Nah, let's just get into it. True to form, I watched alongside making some notes. It's mostly just a play-by-play. I've probably got some questions as I go along. Almost definitely got some complaints. So I'll go through and hopefully that'll just give me a bit of a reminder of the storyboard as well, like and when things were happening. And if you guys want to chip in, that's going to be awesome. If I can just get a bit of an idea of what the fuck I'm getting wrong, that'd be sound. So let's crack on. It opened on 2 guys who were fishing, and the first thing I noted was just how nice it looked compared to the 2 films I was used to watching. I wasn't ready for this like color palette right at the beginning. Everything was so rich and green, rich blue water. I was like, this is fucking lush. I kind of had forgotten how the last one had ended. I vaguely had that sense of like, oh, there was victory at the end. So we're pretty happy with something. I was like, oh, is this just going to start all wonderful? Like people are just going to be chilling in a field somewhere. And then it cut into these 2 little ugly guys on the boat, didn't it? One I quickly found out was called Smeagol. So I was worried then. I was like, great, I'm getting a Gollum backstory, which I don't think I needed. So there we go.
Did you pick up the other guy's name?
Oh, I did, my friend. Yeah, I did. This is the whole Boromir and Faramir all over again, isn't it? You got Smeagol and Deagle, for fuck's sake. What's going on? I couldn't work out if this was like real or CGI because these are the ugliest looking people I've ever seen. It kind of looks like Rick Mail. It kind of looks like Martin Clunes. Were these real people or were these CGI? They were just very bad looking people.
It was Andy Serkis.
You're saying that like that's a name I should know.
He's been in everything.
He should be in a circus because he looks like a fucking freak show.
He was the baddie in Black Panther, one of them.
The white bad guy.
Yeah, the South African bad guy.
No, he's fucking huge.
This was a while before.
Yeah.
I got you now. Yeah. All right. Anyway, cut to those guys. The worst swimming CGI I've ever fucking seen. Basically, just not in the water. There's no one animated any water around him. It's just a dude doing this.
A guy holding his breath in slow motion.
And swimming front crawl underwater, which we all know works. So yeah, my only note was just the scenery was fucking beautiful. And he goes down in the water, he sees a ring. Naturally, rather than just pick up the ring, takes a whole fucking fistful of mud with it, because that's how you pick things up. He's a little fucking idiot. I found out his name was Deagle. I've just literally put Deagle. Great. So Smeagol is quite clearly just corrupted immediately. As soon as he sees this ring, he's like Gollum. He just fucking turned. I wouldn't really see what he was like before that, but he already seems like he's got this Gollum conflict. So that was my first question. Like, has he just got a real fucking gravy brain? So he was just corrupted so easily by the ring? Or is there another backstory to this I don't know that meant he'd already been exposed to it or something?
Just weak of will, I think.
Yeah, because all he did was see it. He hadn't even touched it, worn it. He just saw this ring. And I'm like, that's crazy because he just turned fucking psycho and he hadn't even touched it.
Yeah, it seems though every other Hobbit that you've seen seems to have some sort of slight resistance against it. And then he's just like, oh, what's that? Give it to me.
Really, really odd. So neither of them can fight. That bothered me. It was just
Fisherman.
it was a choking match. Not a punch was thrown. No one tried to do anything apart from choke each other. And then Smeagol kills his brother for the ring. I put, will it get explained why? But I guess that's the explanation, just that he was really easily corrupted. Was the ring looking for someone so easily influenced that it stumbled upon them? Because otherwise I'm failing to see the significance of his character.
Yeah. It's been in that river a long time and just wants out.
Okay.
Needs to get back into the hands of people who could get it where it wants to go.
My next comment was, so he spoke weird before he became Gollum because he already had the Gollum voice before he was Gollum.
Yeah, I don't know why that was necessary.
Your brother, enjoying this fishing, aren't you, brother? It's like, dude, you're just a normal hobbit at this point. What the fuck?
Yeah, that bothered me massively because Deagle is speaking absolutely normal. But Smeagol has already got this weird raspy voice. It's like everything else about him mutates in the next scene. Why couldn't his voice? Why did his
I
voice stay the
mean,
same?
You know, how many years ago is this?
500 years.
Yeah, so 500 years of ring corruption later, he still has occasional instances as Smeagol where he can talk normally. So, like, what is the reason that 500 years ago he didn't even have a normal voice? This doesn't make sense to me. So he's been chucked out of his village for killing his brother. Great, that's probably a good idea. But he kept saying they cursed us. Did they do some kind of spell on him and actually curse him? Or is that just a figure of speech?
No, I think it's more of a figure of speech that, he was cast out from his home, his family, all of his support. So he had nothing. So that's why he went into the caves. He went and just hid from society as it banished him, pretty much.
Okay.
And I just say, according to the Lord of the Rings wiki, Deagle was his cousin, not his brother.
I thought he even said that the villagers chucked him out for killing his brother. I thought he said that in his narrative to himself.
I've never picked up on that, but
I don't know.
I always thought it was a cousin.
I just thought they were mates.
Well, that makes the naming convention even weirder. At some point, two brothers have been like, right, I want to call him Smeagol, and the other one's like, oh, fine, I'll call mine Deagle then.
Being named after a gun from Counter-Strike.
Then a scene which I wish wasn't. I didn't really want this to be foreshadowing. I wanted this to be the only time I saw someone eat something really disgustingly in this movie. but I just got to watch him eat some raw fish, which I didn't fucking need to do. And then morph into an albino Grinch, which was a strange fucking scene. I didn't need it. I was like, yeah, I get it. I know how he ends up. I don't need to see this fish going into his teeth and then him turning into this
Scales and sinew, yeah.
I didn't need that. On to Samwise, which is fantastic because I've missed him and he very quickly has become my favourite character in the whole trilogy. Him and Gimli were probably neck and neck in Two Towers. Instantly, Sam is just head and shoulders above the rest. Oh yeah, Frodo as well. Great. Frodo's slipping down the pecking order again, and he wasn't doing great anyway. Frodo's not sleeping. Oh, Bechard, poor guy. And Sam wants to feed Frodo a big leaf with some lembas bread in it, and he's rationing himself so that he can feed Frodo. And Frodo's being a little fucking drama queen. Like he's acting like he's not had a day of sleep in his life and he's just burdened by something. It's like he's just obviously he's got this ring on, which is his choice, but he's just so pathetic for this whole movie. I can't enjoy any scene with Frodo in it anymore, and it's even easier for Sam to just show me that he's the one. But nonetheless, he has some food, he's all good. We just see more of how loyal Sam is, which is beautiful. Then we go to the boys who are with Gandalf I think they're in the forest at this point, just knocking about on their horses and stuff. And then we get a big Return of the King. So I've already seen quite a lot of movie before I've seen what this movie's called, which is class. I still at this point don't know what Return of the King means. Don't know who the king is, don't know who's returning, don't know anything, can't really work it out. I've tried to for this whole movie and then I work it out about half an hour in, I think.
I mean, who is the king that you see before it says Return of the King on screen?
Theoden?
Shadowfax. King of the horses.
The whole movie was about Shadowfax. Yeah, we all got it wrong.
Did you not pick up on that?
So they're all together, and then my next note is, fuck sake, the idiot hobbits are smoking. Yeah, they're so cool. I roll. So yeah, the two I don't like, Merry and Pippin, who unfortunately become quite important in this movie, which I think Mark pre-warned me about when I initially said I hated them. He was like, you're going to hate the third one. But I didn't really understand what could happen, and I'm going to go easy on them for now, but I didn't like them at this point. They were just sitting having a smoke, and it was just a scene that didn't really do anything for me. Again, the comedy value they were aiming for just wasn't hitting. But then they did help me with a bit of exposition because they said, welcome to Isengard. I was like, cool, I know where we are now, even though everyone else probably already knew. Then Gimli just has a go at them. So I just put, yeah, Gimli, tell them they suck. I can't remember what he said, but Gimli was just having a go.
You young rascals! A merry hunt you've led us on, and now we find you feasting and smoking!
That was it, yeah. Apparently Treebeard's been put in charge of Isengard, which is great, because you love a good decisive leader, don't you? So as soon as he said that, I was like, I bet Andy is just beside himself with that information at this point when he's watched the movies and read it. I bet he's like, yeah, my favourite character.
Oh, you don't even know. Treebeard is so important, and it's weird how important he is.
And yet, this is the last time I hear his name, which is a welcome surprise. So they rock up to a tower that apparently Saruman is locked inside. And I was like, this has to be a trap. Like, this all-powerful wizard that we've been fearing is just like locked inside a tower. But also, I wasn't really sure. Again, maybe Amy can help, but I think I kind of get it. What the time frame was between the second movie and this movie, because I'm kind of thinking it's almost instant. Like, this is the same day.
Yeah, it's tricky because what we see at the start of this film is still in the last book.
Well, they haven't gone through all the pipeweed yet, so it can't have been that long.
I feel like it's pretty much instant from Helm's Deep because it is so close to Isengard. Helm's Deep's happened. They go pretty much straight over to Isengard just to see what's happened,
Okay.
from what I can tell.
Because I was just a bit confused about how Saruman's just been held up in this tower, because I thought, as part of this massive battle they had, they just would have stormed it. Because he wasn't the only guy in there, was he? He had orcs and stuff in there with him, I thought.
I think it's just him and Grima.
So yeah, anyway, I found he was locked in a tower, and my head was just ready for a trap then. I was a bit on edge. Then Gandalf rocks up. But I'm surprised myself with these notes. I must have been tired. It says Gandalf has bangs and he looks quite hot. I remember he's just got these sweeping bangs of his white hair in this scene. And I was like, he's kind of hot for an old dude, to be fair. But basically, they're all kind of asking for peace, and he's asking to be kind of forgiven up in the tower, and he's a bit stuck. And then someone says something along the lines of, "There'll be peace when you die."
King Theoden said that.
I liked that. He was very determined to be that guy that was like, no, this is a bad guy. We need to just kill him. And that's a theme that probably should have been playing out for the last two movies, is that bad guys just don't get killed, do they? When they're meant to be. Hence Grimer's still up there. Grimer. So Gandalf Greyhaim is then what he is called, which again is another name for Gandalf I've not heard.
Make him up as I go along.
It's a bit of a slight on him, isn't it? Say he's refusing to acknowledge his being Gandalf the White by calling him Graham.
I don't have a hierarchy in my head of which he likes to be called, so I never know if someone's just calling them their colloquial name for him or doing a diss. And then he mentions three things that I need help with because I don't understand what he's saying. He mentions the Key of Orthanc, the Crowns of 7 Kings, the Rods of 5 Wizards. What's any of that?
You did find out what Orthanc was in the last episode.
Yeah, he's in Orthanc, isn't he?
Is Orthanc the tower?
Yeah.
Orthanc
Yeah.
indeed is the power tower.
So why did he say the Crowns of 7 Kings?
And there were 9 kings, weren't there?
There were definitely 9 kings.
And there were 5 wizards.
To the book.
He's like, oh, what do you want? You want the Key of Orthanc, you want the Crowns of 7 Kings, you want the Rods of 5 Wizards. I think he's accusing Gandalf of wanting everything. I don't quite get it.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's the 7 dwarf kings that he means.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That makes more sense. And so this is just going back to the first movie when they were saying who took charge of which races and stuff, right? When there was 9 men and...
They got their own rings.
Gotcha. So were the rings embedded in the crowns and the rods? Is that why he's mentioning them?
They were given them as rings, and then his ring controlled all those ones. So I'm not sure if they did turn them into some sort of jewelry or kept them as rings.
The rings amplified the people that wore them. So with the dwarves, it amplified the avarice and greed. So they would mine deeper after more gold, more mithril. Men desired power, so they would be more corrupt. And it was easier for him to control and to influence them with his one ring from a vast distance.
Okay. The next thing that happens is Sauron gets out his Remember All.
Saruman.
Sauron. Oh, God. Deagle gets out his Remember All. And I can't actually remember what he sees, but everyone gets the vibe from that Sauron is coming soon, basically. Then Aragorn says something about getting to the throne of Gondor. Where did that side quest come from, and why is it important? Don't know. Don't really know what the throne of Gondor is. I've heard it, and I've heard that Aragorn might be the rightful dude to the throne of Gondor, but I still can't really fit in my head at this point where Gondor fits into Middle Earth and how important it is. Is it a place or is it a title?
So Gondor is quite a big area, and I think most importantly, it's the area right next to Mordor. They're charged with keeping whatever is in Mordor in there.
Okay, so whoever has the throne of Gondor is the person who's you are the dude who can protect us from Sauron.
Yeah.
Almost
Which-
uniting men against Mordor under the crown of Gondor.
This makes a lot of sense.
You know, in Shadow of Mordor, where you start as a ranger on watch on a wall, that is the wall protecting Middle Earth from Mordor.
I should go and play that game again now that I've seen it.
It's mostly wrong if you ask Andy, but
Then Theoden Horsemaster is trying to get Grima, and yeah, I don't know why. He just should be dead. Because Theoden was trying to convince Grima, like, oh, you're a good guy, really? You'll be alright. I was just like, no, he's fucking knobhead, and you all should have murdered him 6 hours ago in my time. But then Grima just stabs Saruman. And that really took me by surprise. Really, genuinely took me by surprise. I was like, fuck, is Saruman just dead? And then he fell. And then I put a note, no way is he dead. He's just going to come back like Gandalf did. These guys don't just die. If he's dead, then the stakes in this just went up loads because you can just stab a fucking wizard and they'll die. I really liked that. That took everything that I expected and was just like, no, people could just get stabbed in this one. And it kind of reminded me of like, oh, wait, is this the last of a trilogy where people can just fucking die because it doesn't matter? And then I was a little bit on edge because I was like, no one better go near Gimli or Sam.
So when Grima stabs Saruman in the back, the director wanted Christopher Lee, the guy that played Saruman, to like call out and like go, oh, or no, shout, because he'd just been stabbed in the back. During World War II, Mr. Lee may have had some questionable jobs for the army.
Which army?
The British army.
Okay.
He was in the SOE, wasn't he?
The what?
Basically a spy during World War II and yeah, did a lot of clandestine shit that never got officially written up.
He wanted him to like draw breath in, but he said when you stab someone in the back, it forces the air out. And he didn't question how he knew, but he said it with such confidence.
So he gave his own direction because he had stabbed. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not the noise people make when they get stabbed. They make this noise.
That's the guy you want on the set, really, I guess. I like that. I like that a lot. And then, okay, this was an interesting one. Excuse the fact I've called either Merry or Pippin shit hobbit, but I don't know which one it was, and I've just written shit hobbit in my notes.
Go with Pippin.
There was a double take from the shit hobbit to Gandalf. Like, he kind of looked at Gandalf suspiciously, and then I put in my notes, oh god, was Saruman actually Gandalf or something? And now Gandalf is Saruman. Because there was this moment where after Saruman dies, one of these little hobbits is zoomed in on, just looking at Gandalf, and Gandalf looks dead shifty. I was like, oh no, like Saruman's just taken over Gandalf's body or something, and this little hobbit somehow can sense it. So this was my thought for most of the rest of the movie. So I didn't trust Gandalf from now on.
I want you to direct a film. Just get like a classic premise and just do this sort of stuff with it. It'd be wonderful.
Just go with every what if.
Did no one else think that was a thing? This happens a couple of times. There's a few times this Hobbit and Gandalf have these like suspicious looks at each other. Like, fuck, Gandalf's up to no good, and this Hobbit knows. And I don't know if you've ever watched a Lord of the Rings film with the idea that you don't trust Gandalf, but it fucking ruins it. Like, you can't.
There's a different reason that look is happening between the two of them.
Can you tell me?
I assume it's just about the Palantir,
Where
which
did
is
that-
so. That was the Remembrall. So Pippin wants to look at it, wants to see it, but Gandalf's keeping it quite hidden.
Oh, because later Gandalf is like, oh, I knew he'd want to have a fucking look.
Yeah.
Okay, this makes more sense. So for the rest of the movie, I guess just I have in the back of my head that Gandalf isn't Gandalf. It's a weird thought to have while you're watching the rest of this film because Gandalf is just so crucial to everything that happens. Then next note, yes, we're back in a tavern, Gimli at his finest. Legolas is definitely jealous of the girl hitting on Aragorn, still shipping those two. And then I put that it seems like an unwise decision having a drinking competition with Gimli, but then I'm quickly proven wrong because Gimli is fucked and Legolas is just like, oh, my fingertips are getting a bit tingly. Like, this is nice. Obviously, he's just like, elves are obviously just so pure, they can't be tainted by booze or something. So that was a bit of fun, and Gimli's just off his face. I was hoping for another shanty at this point, though. I think that the two little hobbits sang a little bit about the Green Dragon. Was that in this scene?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I
But
thought you'd like that.
it was all right, but it wasn't really a joyful song. It was more like a football chant about their favourite pub. It wasn't like a kind of jovial shanty that everyone could join in with. It was two hobbits being like, this place is shit because the Green Dragon's the best. It's a weird thing to sing about in a pub. I do just genuinely enjoy like pub song vibe. It was nice. And yeah, I'm still suspicious of Gandalf now. And he says, someone's asking Gandalf, what does your heart tell you? I think it's Aragorn. And
Yeah,
then-
Aragorn's asking him if he thinks Frodo's all right.
So he says that his heart is telling him Frodo's alive. Smeagol versus Gollum again, bit of back and forth, and he wants to. Okay, this was funny. They're on about Minas Mogul and taking them to this female presence that was going to kill Frodo. They sort of talked about at the end of the last one, didn't they? Like, let's go and take him to her and she'll kill him. And Gollum was like, yeah, take him to her. And he's like, yes, up the winding stair. He's like, yep, the stairs, and then he's like, and the tunnel. It's like, yep, and the tunnel, and then genuinely had me laughing. It was in the second movie. He was like telling the hobbits how to get to the Black Gate or something. He was like, you have to go there, but then hobbits there's a tunnel. Like, he gets really excited about the routes without really knowing the destination. I just think it's quite cute in a way. It kind of reiterates that he's a bit of a short-term goal type guy, not really thinking ahead too far, which I liked. It was a funny little back and forth. Sam heard him, and all caps here in my notes, this has to be the last straw. It's not though, is it? It's not at all. Because apparently hearing from the mouth of Gollum that he is going to murder Frodo is not enough evidence to stop following this creature. And at this point, I'm just so frustrated because I just know Frodo's going to keep giving it to Gollum and following him and just giving him to his love bombing. And I'm like, this it's not cool. Okay, next now. I kind of regret writing this now, but I'll say it. I said, why are they forcing Pippin to be important? Just admit you made a shit character and get rid. I kind of regret that. Okay, I can't remember which one it is. Merry or Pippin, one of them I actually quite liked by the end of this. But one of them I wasn't too bothered about, but they both end up going on fairly noble missions. But I still fucking hate them at this point, because all I know is them just ruining things for what they believe to be comedic value. And like all of a sudden, it's like, oh no, look, this guy's really special. He's got this like inner nobility that is going to come out and help. I was kind of against that, but that fades away after a while. So Pippin, I think, takes the Remember All from Gandalf, who's sleeping with his eyes open, which again, I'm convinced Gandalf is under some kind of spell. It's all adding up in my head. He's just being bewitched, so he's sleeping with his eyes open, protecting this Remember All, because he's evil, he's Saruman. I think I just watched this scene wrong, because he's holding the Remember All and he gets some visions. I hope someone can correct me here, because what I saw was in his vision, he sees Legolas with a hood on, with no hair. This is 100% what I thought I saw. He sees a bald Legolas with a hood on, turn to him, and he says something. Can't remember what he says. And then, like, the vibe that Sauron's coming.
You are aware that Legolas and Aragorn are outside talking. He's got a hood up. Are you confusing that with what you saw in the Palantir?
I'm looking into the Remember All at the moment. What's it called? Because I'm going to keep calling it Remember All. What's it?
It's a Palantir.
Palantir.
Or one of the Palantiri.
Palantir. So he's looking into the Palantir and he gets this vision. And I thought that the first thing he saw in this vision was like a big evil backdrop, a man in a cloak, which was Legolas with no hair.
That's outside the building. That's not his vision.
Like, it is flicking between him and Legolas. It was Legolas saying that the eye of Sauron is on them. So as soon as he touches the Palantir, Legolas becomes aware that they're being watched by Sauron.
Okay. It's in my notes. It says bold Legolas. And the embarrassing thing is this is not the last time it's in my notes. How far into the movie is this? I'm going to find it.
Probably way earlier than you think in the grand scheme of things.
Sorry, this is not good podcasting. This will just all get cut. It's a bold fucking Legolas. That's bad cinematography. You can't do a vision and also cut in what's really happening. That's stupid. So then I've put, please ditch this shit, Hobbit, because again, he was just like, he was stealing that thing. It was hurting his hands. It was catching fire to things. And then they had to like catch it with a blanket. And the Palantir was just up to no good. And I was like, why are they still carrying this Hobbit around if he's really fucking with things at this point? And obviously someone sees something in him that I don't, which is fine. So then he gets asked what he saw in his vision. He says he saw a white tree, a courtyard of stone, the tree was dead, and the city was burning. And then Gandalf's like, that sounds like Minas Tirith. And then him, which I'm guessing refers to Sauron at this point. None of those words mean anything to me. Should I have known at this point that the white tree or courtyard of stone or Minas Tirith were important, or did nobody know that?
No, that's just introduced to you then.
Ideal. Then we have the heir of Elendil, which is Aragorn. Didn't know he was the heir of Elendil. Probably did. Probably forgot. Don't know what Elendil is. Aragorn just seems to be the heir of everything. But is that just because he's got a bit of a sketchy background? He's got about 20 dads.
Elendil is Isildur's dad. He is the one that gets killed by Sauron in the very first film's opening, and Isildur grabs his blade and cuts the ring off Sauron's hand.
So it was Elendil's blade.
Yes.
Isildur's the one that actually used it to cut the ring.
Yes.
Isildur didn't die there and then because Isildur took the ring.
Elendil died.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Sauron is now scared of man.
Yeah.
Because he's seen how man, as in like mankind, can stand up to all his orcs and the Uruk-hai and all that shit. So Sauron's a bit scared. That's what Gandalf's saying. And something about the beacons of Gondor, which I don't really know about at this point. And Rohan are ready for war. And should I know that the beacons of Gondor are something?
No, not yet.
Cool. I don't think that's very responsible to just be throwing all these terms at me and just be like, remember these will be important, especially in an era where most people are not watching with subtitles. Rohan are ready for war. Do you know, in this movie, something about Rohan has just done everything right in my head that every time I hear Rohan, my brain just goes, fuck yeah. Like, it's just a little reflex thing. They're ready for war. They're all just fucking great. Like, I just love hearing about Rohan and seeing the Rohan dudes fuck everything up. They just have a cool vibe, and they have a really cool home, which it's obviously not great now, but I don't know, just Rohan, it's just nice. Everything about it seems poetic and nice, and all the people seem grand. I like it.
Yeah, Rohan just feels more romantic to me, especially when you compare it to like Gondor, when you see it later and it's just cold stone.
Definitely the word, romantic.
Yeah. I feel like there are a lot more earth tones in Rohan.
There's just something about it.
He actually based it on Anglo-Saxon Britain, but with horses.
Yeah, Rohan's good shit. And then, oh god, okay, yeah, this was, who's talking at this point? I think it might be Theoden. I've just put, this bitch still wants to hold a grudge about Gondor. He's still got a bee in his bonnet about, why should we help them if they didn't? Everyone's dying, motherfucker. Like, everyone. Nobody cares about your little bullshit. Sauron's gonna kill you all. And he's like, why should we help those that never help? Give up. Grow the fuck up. No. Then finally, people getting ready to drop Pippin. They're like, mate, this is the last straw now because you keep fucking about. And I think it's because he's like, I can't remember what the final straw was, but they were like, nah, dude, you gotta go. Like, you just gotta go. And they just sent him on his way.
Because he had the Palantir and Sauron saw him, he assumed that he had the ring. So they had to move him to Minas Tirith.
So were they deliberately leading Sauron to Minas Tirith by doing that?
Well, Gandalf knew he was planning to attack Minas Tirith anyway. I don't know why he decided to move what Sauron thought was the ring there if he was attacking anyway.
Focus his view there.
And there was a point later on where Aragorn held it, and it meant he thought that man had the ring, and that's why he attacked Minas Tirith. But he actually attacked them earlier than he'd wanted to, in a panic that they had it and it was there and they were going to use it.
Okay. So they send him on his way with the rest of the long bottom leaf. I don't know, I've just put a bracket saying, is this meant to be like weed, whatever? It just seems like an unnecessary thing to bother adding. But maybe that's cool for like the 12 Lord of the Rings stoners that watch this.
Yeah, it's a bit of a throwback because in the book, Saruman buys loads of weed from one of the Sackville Bagginses from the Shire.
Then we get Shadowfax running. And for some reason, I just have a bit of a thought process now, being how silly a name Shadowfax is, because he's white, shadows are black, and faxes don't exist yet. So I don't really...
Maybe that is why faxes are called faxes, because they're really fast.
Like Shadowfax?
Well, fax means copy or similar to, like facsimile. So like you're saying he's like a shadow when he literally isn't.
Yeah. So I don't know, just for some reason, there wasn't a lot happening apart from him running about, so I just had time to mull over the name and be like, that's a bit silly, actually.
Okay, I just looked on Google and it says no, a fax machine was not named after Shadowfax.
So according to Google, Shadowfax is called that because it's a modern form of the Old English word scadufakes, meaning shadow grey mane or shadow grey coat, even though it's white in the films.
In the books, he's grey.
Okay, cool, nice. And then Aragorn makes a comment about hobbits being hardy. Like, he's like, I thought hobbits were hardy or something like that. I just thought, what the fuck gives him that idea? Because all the hobbits we know are fucking just weak as piss. Like, they are just useless apart from Samwise, but Aragorn doesn't really know Samwise. So what on earth is making him think hobbits are hardy? The only ones he's come across are the two little idiots that are always in trouble, and Frodo, who is always stabbed.
They have a reputation for stubbornness.
Bilbo was quite hardy, considering.
Okay, I'll give him that, I suppose. And the elves are going through the forest. I gather that they are going to that place that they go to, that little lover's realm type thing. They have to,
Lovers'
yeah. Oh God, yeah. You know the place that people go when they were going there in the first movie, and then the second movie they were like, oh, they were saying to Aragorn, you just gotta let her go to this place. I'm guessing that's where they're going. This like place beyond the realm,
Oh, the Grey Havens.
the Grey Havens.
Yeah.
yeah.
Even though in the film they're white.
Then, okay, so the lady has a bit of a fantasy about. It seems that Aragorn is in this fantasy. I can't quite tell if Aragorn is the dad in her fantasy or the kid. Can't quite tell if she's like fantasizing over like Aragorn being a dad of their kid, or if she's fantasizing about like Aragorn as a kid. Don't quite understand what's happening here, to be honest.
Elrond has the gift of foresight, so we can kind of like see into the future a little bit. So I'm guessing it.
Right, we'll get to that because she says that later. We're all meant to have foresight. That's a basic like human instinct, is to have some foresight.
And some people get it cut off when they're children for religious reasons. So.
Well, it's just more hygienic.
Well, in this, he means visions of the future. And so that was her seeing her child, which is Aragorn's child.
Okay, so she was like sharing Elrond's foreskin at that point.
I hope not. He's her dad.
This was Arwen seeing it, right?
Yeah.
Does Arwen also have foresight?
Maybe she inherited it and
Yeah, maybe to a lesser degree.
The crownless again shall be king is something that was mentioned. Bear with me. So, just bear with me. So crownless has got me thinking, because in the prophecy, Legolas was bald. So
No.
Legolas is going to be the king.
I was really hoping you were going to go down the route of Shadowfax becomes king, but okay, this is better.
I can't breathe.
Not fucking with you. This bald thing stayed in my mind for the rest of the movie.
Oh, you've killed me.
Oh God! And it gets reinforced later, because when they see that statue of the king, they go, "Look, the king has got his crown back, and it's grown like flowers in his hair." And I'm like, "It's Legolas." So stupid. I'm so dumb. Okay, then wait, they are fixing Narsil. This pissed me off because they put together the sword. Iconic. So immediately in one fell swoop, in 2 movies, my tattoo has become irrelevant because they put it back together. So that's made me feel silly.
Well, it's still the blade that cut the ring.
Yeah, so I've got the broken version. I didn't know the fixed version was going to be an option. And then we go to Minas Tirith, the City of Kings. I don't know if that's a translation from... Is that like a translation from a language in the Lord of the Rings world?
There's a lot of Minuses, so I guess that means like town or city or walled city or something.
Minas Morgul, Minas Tirith, Minas Tirith. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Fortress, maybe. Don't know.
It's Spanish for mines.
Mine.
It means towers in Elvish.
It's the opposite of a mine.
And Tirith means apparently watching or guarding.
So we're in Minas Tirith. Gandalf is recklessly driving this horse up there. Like, he is rapidly going up on this horse. There's women and children just leaping out of the way. I was like, you're going to kill someone, Gandalf.
Runs a red, drives in a bike lane, you know.
I was worried about the extras because it zoomed out and I was like, this horse is like a real horse running by real people by the looks of it. I was like, this is a fucking big horse. And he's just going unnecessarily fast up this street. I was just a bit worried about that.
So you can play him when he goes too slow. You can play him when he goes too fast.
All I'm saying, for a wizard... He's not using much magic. He's doing a lot of reckless stuff. He could be on a broom or something.
He's already seen the future. He knows it's fine.
Yes. And I say it looks fucking cool, to be honest. It's not a surprise at this point that every set piece and every location in this movie is just stunning. Like, the city is just fucking cool.
Didn't they actually build a few streets of this and then add miniatures for all the outside shots?
They did that for a couple of things, like a couple of roads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they actually built some of those streets in a warehouse somewhere.
They like miniatures and Lord of the Rings. And so do I.
The overlap between people that like and were involved in Lord of the Rings and the people that like miniatures, surprisingly.
Mostly a circle.
Go into a Games Workshop. Who likes Lord of the Rings? No hands raised. No.
Just because they don't want to drop their miniatures. But yeah, it just looks stunning. Just looks really fucking cool. It zooms out as Gandalf's running up there, and it's like winding all the way up to the top. And then it like the way it wraps around the pointed cliff edge as well. So it's like they've just embedded this city onto the cliff edge. This is just the coolest fucking thing. Then Boromir's father, who's a new person, and I hate him. He's just got the kind of face you look at and you go, oh, it's a baddie. So they were saying it's Boromir's father. Don't mention the death of Boromir. He's just got too much to worry about. It was kind of fun back and forth where he's like just saying to him, like, don't mention this, don't mention this. Actually, just don't talk because you're a bit of liability. And that he's not the king, he's like stewarding for the king. So he's just like an interim. Obviously, he doesn't think that. But yeah, it was a weird one. He goes in, immediately knows that his son is dead somehow. Oh, what's he's holding something?
The horn.
The horn, okay. And that's a sign that he knows his son is dead. Then the word Mithrandir is said, and I don't know what that means.
That's another name for Gandalf.
Of course it is.
Name 16 for Gandalf.
So they talk about how Aragorn is likely to be the next king of Gondor, and this guy just says a bunch of nasty shit. He's like, I won't bow to this Ranger of the North. His dad's a nasty little dirtbox or something. And he just says a bunch of nasty things to say, like, this guy's not worthy of the throne because he's not pure-blooded or all that good stuff. Bad vibes straight away. And then we zoom out to the mountain. It's erupting a lot for a mountain, Amy.
I saw it and went, oh, look, a mountain.
Really aggressive mountain.
Some of them are like that, though.
Yeah, the volcanoes are.
Yeah. Fire mountains.
And again, just I can't remember which two characters are in the scene at the moment, but they just super. I think it's Legolas and Aragorn, maybe. But they are like hard R on the Mordor. They're like Mordor, and I'm just here for it because people are going more like into that accent. I just enjoy it because some of them are still Mordor, and some are Mordor, and some are like Aragorn, and some are Aragorn. There's a nice little mix. Even if people don't have an accent, they kind of say things right, which is nice. Then they mention that Sauron covers the sun with ash to protect the orcs, and that's how he knows when they're going to be ready, because he's going to fill the sky with ash. And I was like, that's actually quite clever. I like that. And this kind of harks back to what we were saying in the sort of beginning of the second movie, and a little bit of the first, where we learned about like how the orc army is getting built, and a little bit around the background of their strategy and stuff. And I think that lends a lot to like what is a war movie generally, is getting a bit of that military strategy in there, but it's intertwined with fantasy in a really nice way. They use this magical power to move the orc. That's just something really cool about that. Most movies you wouldn't know. It would just be like an unspoken, yeah, just orcs go there and kill everyone. And then it's Gandalf. He's explaining to somebody about this ash.
Yeah, he's talking to Pippin, and Pippin's like, "Great, okay, yeah, he doesn't want us. We can leave." And he said, "No, it's too late for that."
He's like, we're stuck here now. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, we're here. Because then he says, help must come to us. And then cut to the most fucking doomed mission ever, which is Frodo and Gollum. Don't feel hopeful at all. They're going to get the help they're waiting for at this point. And also, I still think Gandalf's a baddie at the moment. Don't forget that.
It really slants the film. I love it.
Now I think like, oh, why has he kept Pippin in the town? I'm like, what's Saruman up to?
Doesn't want Legolas to be king. I don't know why.
Just want his hair back.
Fuck's sake. But how are they still following him? As in Frodo and Sam following Gollum. I just don't understand how that conversation's happened, where the last thing we saw was Sam seeing Gollum talk to himself about killing Frodo. That's the last thing we saw. Frodo's fishing for compliments from Sam, because he says, oh, I don't think I am coming back, Sam. He's just a little bitch. And Sam's like, yeah, of course you're coming back, Mr. Frodo, because you're great and I'll carry you and don't worry, you'll be fine. Then there's the nice little king who's got his crown again. There's some flowers sprouting. That was just a lovely bit of business. There's no more stars now. The stars in the sky are covered, and this is the sign that the orcs are ready. And that seems like it was quick since we learned what that would mean. But I guess we learned just in time. Then we learned that there's lots of baddies come in. There's the legends from the south, and when they say that, it cuts to the Oliphants. So I'm guessing they're like legends.
Do you mean the legions?
Maybe. I might mean legions, but I thought it said legends.
Those guys, oh yeah, fucking legends.
I just thought it meant like legends as in like mythical creatures, because the elephants were enormous. And then mercenaries, that was like describing the guys on the boats that are going to come as well. And then a couple of other kind of baddies it mentioned, but it was quite a quick list, just rattling through. I didn't type them all out. And then Sauron's deadliest servant, the Witch King. This seems like it's one of the ring wraiths from just visuals.
Correct.
I didn't know we were going to have like one of the ring wraiths singled out, because it seemed like they were all kind of on even par with each other. And from Shadow of Mordor, this guy I thought was Sauron, because I think I might have a mismemory from that game where when you fight Sauron, he's wearing this armor with this spiky helmet. And so I was like, oh, I thought I was Sauron, but it's not. It's just a ring wraith, the Witch King. But then I think you do fight the Witch King in Shadow of Mordor.
You do fight the Witch King in Shadow of War, I think.
But yeah, so I didn't know that one of the ring wraiths was going to get singled out. Like, how was that? Why has that come about?
Just watch The Hobbit. It'll explain it.
So he's his right-hand man. He's like his general. He's the most powerful of the ring wraiths. So like each of the ring wraiths was a king of somewhere else. I think he only really named 2 ring wraiths, the Witch King, and one was Camul the Easterling, something like that. So like the ring wraiths come from like all over Middle Earth. They're not all like Gondorian kings.
Witch King?
Witch King?
Witch King? Nearly got you. And the Dead City is the next thing we see, which has like a green glow to it. And again, I think I recognize this from the Shadow of War games as well. But there's like a green glow to it, and I know green means bad in films like this. It still looks really cool though. Like it looks just again, every place in this movie just looks really cool, and this Dead City is no different to that. And just there's the secret staircase Gollum points to on the left of it, which is not a staircase at all. It's immensely deep, really, really steep. Nobody should be climbing that and calling them stairs. It's really scary to even look at. But they have that to go up, and Frodo just starts like swanning towards the city. Like he just ignores the stairs and starts heading towards the dead thing. So I'm guessing he's getting like pulled towards it by the ring, is it?
Yeah. Every time anyone goes, "Hey Frodo, do you want to wear the ring?" and he's like, "Oh yeah, I do."
Yeah, his willpower's not up there, is it? He's very much an I'll quit smoking tomorrow type guy.
I mean, he has been wearing it for a while now, so he's got to be pretty knackered. But
then the city of dead folk starts like beaming upwards. There's this like beam that goes up like War of the Worlds, and zoomed out to Gandalf, and he's really shocked to see this, or rather Saruman is shocked to see this. And I was like, "Ooh, something's happening, yeah." And he just puts his arm around Pippin, and it's like when you look now at those like old Diddy clips where he's like, just on a TV set with some child actor. You know, I just felt a little bit gross looking at it. It was weird. And then the Wraith comes on. I've called it an eel dragon.
Yeah.
It's pretty spot on, to be fair.
That's what it is, yeah.
Because I still don't know whether Nazgul are the ring wraiths or the animals. What are the animals called apart from eel dragons?
it's called a fell beast. That's what the fuck is called, a fell beast.
Not near as good as Eel Dragon.
Yeah. Sorry, Andy, you're wrong there, mate.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, bud. It's an eel dragon. Because fell beast sounds like you kill the beast.
Yeah, or it sounds like a classification of animal rather than the name of one animal. Oh, you know, the fell beast, like eel dragons, and I was just reading a different wiki for Lord of the Rings, and it says they are called blackwings sometimes, or Nazgul birds, or hellhawks.
I like all of them. So then there's like the eel dragon does like a. Well, again, I can't tell if this is the eel dragon or the ring wraith making the noise, but it's like a banshee scream. But like they're both kind of like the dragon's got his mouth open, but also the ring wraith is moving his head. So I don't actually know what that noise is coming from, whether it's coming from the animal or coming from them. Anyway, got the banshee scream. We are 1 hour into this movie. 1 hour. One single hour. And there is what seems to be an enormous battle ready to unfold. So I've put, if this movie is now 3 more hours of battle, I'm in. And it wasn't far off, to be honest. It wasn't far off. Pretty great. We cut out to Samwise threatening Gollum. I think Gollum might have gotten a bit turned on by that. It was really a really strange scene. Gollum's like backed up against a wall. We see more of his iliac crest than we should and ever have before. Like his loincloth has slipped down a bit. Very odd.
You can see the cum gutters. You'll know what that is. That's fine.
I expect that from Rhys, but not from you. But
Yeah, he just has a smile on his face when he's backed up against that wall. It's just a smile I've seen before with girls that got daddy issues. It's just one of them. I think he liked being told off a little bit. And then he knows it's an empty threat. Like, he knows, because Sam's basically being like, that's it, do this again, I'm going to kill you. But this has been said a few times now. Like, Gollum has been threatened with death by Sam quite a few times, and after it, he still says, I'm still going to kill Frodo. And it's like, yeah, okay. It's all just a bit kind of empty now with the whole love triangle that's going on there. I know now nothing can happen to get in the way of Frodo following Gollum, and Sam's just being ignored non-stop. So it's kind of just annoying, which is a shame, because I love Sam. He's the best. Oh, this is fun. Then we go to the only person of colour in the entire trilogy. Did you miss it? Because you would if you blinked. I mean, obviously, I don't know if there's people of colour acting with makeup on, as like orcs and what have you. But when we're zooming across the garrison, one of the guards in the garrison is a person of colour. And that's pretty fucked up. He's on screen for about 2 seconds, no lines, just looking kind of more or less towards the camera, and that's it. And it was so notable that that was the only person of colour I saw for the whole 3 movies. It's really fucked up. But that was it. And then he's gone in the blink of an eye. Did any of you notice him?
Nope.
No. He's probably not even got a credit. Poor fucking guy. Then the orcs are doing a bit of a sneaky sneak on their boats. Like, it's like a Marines advert. It's pretty cool. They're kind of sneaking and they're like paddling and telling each other not to paddle too loud. Don't worry about the fact they've all got fucking torches on their boats. Like, they've all got fire on their boats, but they're sneaking somehow. But it's okay, because no one has seen these like 60 boats lined with torches coming towards the garrison. Don't know why they're not looking, but that seems to be their only job.
They're all looking to the north.
So they sneak. I just think it's really cool because orcs, without the distraction of this kind of orc-Uruk-hai rivalry, because I believe that now Saruman's gone, the Uruk-hai don't exist. We don't see any more, do we?
We see a couple later on, but it's not that important.
Cool. So without that kind of rivalry, the orcs seem to be a lot more ordered and seem to have a lot more strategy in this film. Like, there's a way of attacking that is different. They're not just clumsily charging into everything, and I liked that. Then they're just about to sneak onto the garrison, and the boss of the boat says, "Draw swords!" Not a sword between them. Not a single sword. They've all got axes or pikes.
Chunks of metal.
Absolutely all of them have got an axe or a pike or a flail. I checked. Not a single sword, but they say draw swords. That made me laugh. What do the orc boats look like? See if you can visualize them. You all saw this quite recently.
Yeah, like landing craft.
Yeah, like a big square boxy thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's like a really defining feature about them that maybe separates them from just an average, normal landing craft?
Made of wood. Holes in them.
Bring up a picture and have a look.
I mean, I'm looking for a picture, but my search history is doing me dirty, and it's just like Warhammer orc boats.
I've got Warhammer and Royal Marines.
It's difficult because they made toys of them as well. That does make this more difficult. Hopefully you're looking at a picture.
Oh, I've got a picture here.
Right, basically, in that scene in the movie, if you look at it, every plank that those boats are made out of is like a really thick slats of wood, but on the end of them, they're all just like super jagged, as if instead of like being sawn with straight edges, they've all been snapped to have this like faux, sharp, rustic look to them. But if you like just think for 1 minute about the production line of these boats, which obviously I do because I'm actually an idiot, then you imagine like, okay, we need this many pieces of wood that are this long, this many that are this long, and join them all with these bolts and stuff. First of all, if you're not cutting them in straight lines, how are you going to join the corners together? The brackets aren't going to work, are they? Because they're mismatched. So they need to have straight lines on the corners that are joined. They've got metal brackets on them. But also, it's harder to snap a piece of wood to the length you want than to saw it. They've got machinery. They would be able to saw wood, but they've decided to snap it so they've got all these jagged edges. But that you wouldn't have a boat if that were the case. You just have lots of wasted wood that was wrong size. It just pissed me off. There was just a fakeness to it. It was like they've gone too far to try and make it look orky. It's just a boat. Like, don't overthink it. Coming from me, don't overthink it. But like,
In my head, they don't have a supply of wood in Mordor. So any wood that they've got is scavenged from other boats. So it could just be that that's what they had to hand, already broken up, and they managed to make it work into some sort of boat.
but like, I don't know. It's like too much was done for the aesthetic. You know what I mean? So then we've got Pippin climbing a beacon. I'm not sure why. I think I may have missed a conversation here where he was told to go and climb up a beacon.
For a laugh.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why, but I assume he's going to go and light it. Because I think the idea of these beacons is that the beacon is a sign that that civilization is up for helping. Am I reading that kind of right?
No, they need help.
Need help. And then the other ones lighting it is them saying, we will help.
They light it to say we need help. But then because they're not within seeing distance, they have to have several along the way to carry that message until it reaches them.
Okay, so he just sets off the first one, and as long as no one gets the second ones to say, no, that was a mistake.
Yeah, that carries on.
Okay, sweet. I get that. That makes sense. You just can't ask for help while it's raining.
Very expensive false alarm, having to replace all that wood and those mountains.
Yeah.
But you've already mobilised an army, but accidentally spilling fire on the first one. And
Everybody ready for a dump of lore?
I would love it. Can we get a jingle?
And he's Lord
So, in the books, the beacons do exist, but they are not for calling for aid. In the books, the beacons are kind of like an air raid warning. So they light the beacons, they go along, and they're just for everyone in Gondor to go, shit's going down, better be careful.
watch out for orcs.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
To summon aid from Rohan, they send a messenger with an arrow, but the arrow's got a red tip. That's the call for help. The film did it so much better than the book.
So yeah, he's gonna, I'm assuming, to light it, and I'll just put a note, stay on it, you worm.
Poor Pippin.
The word Amon Din is used. I don't know what that means. Is that just a name of the beacons? Amon Din?
Yeah,
Yeah.
might be the mountain it's on.
Yeah. They lit them from the top. They built these really lovely fires. You would light it from the bottom, and then it would become a really good fire. They light it from the top and hope for the best. So that's just annoying.
Someone on Reddit's made a map of all the beacons in Gondor as they go to Rohan, and yeah, Amon Din is the first one outside of Minas Tirith.
Love that. Would they not be marked on your maps anyway? Would you not kind of get an idea of
And that's
where
what
they are?
she's shuffling through.
I was looking to see what Amon Din was officially. It was a hill. But no, on the maps themselves, I don't think on the big map it's mentioned because they're such little points. This map only shows like, the paths that they take.
Oh, okay.
But that is my favourite scene in that film.
It's quite cool.
I remember seeing it for the first time, especially because obviously I saw it in the cinema for the first time. Just seeing these light up was just felt epic.
Yeah, there wasn't quite shivers, but there was something. There was something that was like, this is really fucking cool. This is everyone coming together now.
Yeah, when Aragorn sprints into the hall to let him know.
Yeah.
And there's that pause, everyone's waiting for his answer. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because Aragorn's clearly like, those are my people that want help as well. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So then, yeah, very cool seeing that they all get lit, bringing people together, bringing together the whole little place. And I put brackets Middle Earth question mark. It's bringing together some people, but I still don't fully know what Middle Earth is and what this is. Please explain to me what Middle Earth is.
That's the world?
So Middle Earth is the world, but this bit that we see is such a small area. But I've got maps that show actually more of that standard Middle Earth map that shows like how vast it actually is as a whole. But it's just what the whole thing's called.
So if there were a globe of Middle Earth, what would it look like? What shape is Middle Earth? Like on the edge of the map, is there just a wall like the Truman Show?
No, so it is a globe, but there's just a lot on it that you don't see. In fact, you can get Middle Earth globes, which obviously I'm just going to go buy a couple of.
Can you actually just walk from like Helm's Deep to Mordor? Because they on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
globe wrap around and they're just next to each other.
Go around the other way, you mean?
So what in this world, what else is there? Or is there only Middle Earth?
Yeah, it's best to just think of the bit we're focusing on is kind of like Europe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's why it's super white and it thinks it's the center of the world.
Fair play. Okay, yeah, so that's all happened. Gondor calls for aid, and then the next words spoken are Rohan will answer, and I'm just putting all caps. Yes, you fucking top boy. Of course, Rohan will answer because Rohan are the best. And I think this is when Theoden decided, like, yes, we're coming, we're helping. And I was like, shivers, like actual shivers. I was like, this is amazing. Rohan are getting involved. Everyone's going to come together. This is cool. So then he's like, summon every able-bodied man to Dunharrow. Don't worry about the ladies. But then the girl has come in and she's packing heat on her horse. So like she's up for a fight, which is really cool. Who is she? Because I mean, we'll get into it a bit, but I thought that was Eowyn. Is that not Eowyn?
That was Eowyn, yeah.
That's Eowyn, the lady who
Eowyn.
goes into battle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to get very confused later.
So in the book, she disguises herself as a man called Dungrave or something like that. And then it's a big reveal that it's her, but they don't bother with that.
Because she just takes her helmet off at one point and as they're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah.
It's
a
about
weird
her
one.
being like the princess of the land and not like, hey, what are you doing here?
Maybe they all know and just don't care. But-
Yeah. And then she kind of later, she kind of hides herself when she takes her helmet off, like when they're actually in battle. But maybe she's just hiding herself from Theoden, not sure. Merry gets renamed Meriadoc Esquire of Rohan, which was cute. It was nice. I like that. And he looks really sort of pleased with himself that he's going to have a bit of purpose. So this is when things start kind of turn around because it feels like those hobbits want some more responsibility. They want to be taken seriously a bit. It's nice. And Gimli says he wishes he could muster more dwarves. I've just put me too, Queen, because there aren't enough dwarves in this whole trilogy. Like, I'm fucked up because we've only met one dwarf. I can't believe it. I cannot believe I've seen 3 Lord of the Rings movies and only one dwarf.
What a live dwarf.
You're going to love The Hobbit.
I'm happy that that has just been said. But yeah, I can't believe it. I thought there'd be more dwarves. There was actually a time a little bit later when I was like, this is where the dwarves are hiding. But no, we just don't. So I was really sad.
Mark, can I have my jingle, please?
And he's Lord Dud!
At this point, the dwarves can't come to help because Sauron has sent a force of Easterlings to attack the dwarves, so they are pinned in place. So there's just another massive army, and all the dwarves are fighting them. So that's why you don't see any dwarves in this one, because they are fighting their own wars, trying to keep their own keeps.
That makes sense.
Same with the elves. That's why they don't come and help. And the Corsairs that we meet later have been attacking for a while along the whole coast of Gondor to try and just break up the cohesion of the forces there.
Right, cut to the garrison fight. We've gone back to there. The orcs are body slamming, like literally. They're doing wrestling moves and they're taking names. The Nazgul have just started to come as well, which seems unfair because they're already winning. And my note was just that these guys need animals because as soon as the eel dragons show up, everything's fucked. Like they just can't do anything. So they need some kind of mythical creature. Is this the motherfucker from the Goonies? I've not seen the Goonies. We're probably going to do that. But I've seen a picture of the thing in the Goonies that is really funny looking. And I think that's this orc that's in charge with the weird hand. Like they're the same guy, right?
The orc's name is Gothmog. And Amy, you want to put more context to that name?
He was based on Harvey Weinstein.
The big bad in Hollywood, that guy.
Yeah. When they designed how they'd look, that's who they based him on. Because obviously he was already known at that point to be a bad guy.
For the listeners, I've got a picture of Sloth from Goonies, and it's the same guy. That's the same guy. But that's all I could think of. And then he had a weird little hand as well. So I just was really distracted every time this guy was on the screen. But he was bossing everyone around, which kind of seemed counterintuitive because he didn't seem particularly able or strong. But the orcs tend to follow the most able and strong, so I didn't really get it. Gandalf then pushed away the Nazgul and the eel dragons with some light on the end of his stick. I feel like there was something poetic there because when they started getting their asses kicked in the garrison and they started retreating, that's when the Nazgul came. Almost like they were feeding off their like lack of hope and fear. And then Gandalf comes and like brings light, i.e. hope, and that scares them away. I feel like that's a vibe it was going for. I might be just reading too much into it. But every time the Nazgul show up, it's when people have already lost hope. Like it happens a bit later on the castle walls where they're literally retreating and then the Nazgul show up. It's almost like they feed off that fear.
Could be onto something.
I'm not sure about them feeding off of fear, but certainly the whole theme of hope being quite a powerful force is definitely a theme of this film.
And then Faramir is why have I written this? Faramir is a bitch. Is my note.
It's nearly dead.
That's my note.
Is this when he's talking to Denethor? When he kind of comes back in and he's like, "Oh, we lost it," and he's like, "Well, go back out and get it again."
Yeah, because Faramir's in there, and he said that like we're losing or whatever. But then he said like, "Yeah, we knew we were going to lose because such and such said it." So then I keep forgetting his name. I just keep calling him Steward because the guy that's
Denethor.
steward in the crown. I call him Steward a lot, Denethor. And he was like, "Oh well, I don't care about what your lord said. Go back and fight or something." But it was just Faramir. It was just a weird little scene where he'd gone back to basically say, "Yeah, we're losing," and then get told to go back out there and fight. I'm like, why has he gone back in the first place?
So he's come back to say, "Hey, that is gone. We've lost it." And his dad's like, "No, that's not good enough. Boromir wouldn't have lost it. Get it back. I don't care what it takes."
I found a Facebook thread of people moaning about how Faramir in the film is not very good at tactics, whereas in the book he was pretty good.
Yeah, this is quite an emotional little scene where he's like,
Hmm.
"Would you rather I died instead of Boromir?" And his dad's like,
And he's
"Yeah."
like,
So he
"Yeah."
just kind of like
Ob, mate.
yeah, he just gives up hope. He's like, "Fine, I hope you think better of me when
I
I
died.
die."
I feel like I would have more empathy for this scene and I would connect more emotionally with it if I at all valued this dad's opinion. But all I have seen of this father is he's a piece of shit. So I have no reason to be like, oh, people should want his love. As far as I'm concerned, Faramir's sound because this dickhead doesn't really care about you. Him loving you doesn't make your life any better because he's a dick. If they built up that character more, I would have more been like, oh my god, it's really shit that Boromir is his favourite. And it's really shit that he's really sad that Boromir is dead and he's obviously overcome with grief and he's taken it out on his other son. But really, I've just been introduced to him. And the first thing I learned about him was that he's a bit shit.
Isn't there more in the book about him being corrupted by his own Palantir, where he's fed wrong information by Sauron on purpose?
Pretty much every time anyone sees anything in the Palantir in the books, it's not actually true. So he thinks that they've lost already by that point, I think, from looking in his own Palantir, which is why he goes a bit crazy.
So he sees Gondor burning and thinks, we've lost, that's the future, what's the point? And he just gives up.
Ah, fuck, okay.
Yeah, I think every time you see it, like Amy said, it's what you get from it isn't right, but it doesn't lie to you. It's just your interpretation's always wrong.
Okay. Like it shows you enough to fuck you up. So there is a guy sent the ring to Mordor.
Frodo is his name, yeah.
Somebody is saying that the ring should never have gone on this trip to Mordor. It should have just been.
I think that's
Yeah.
Denethor saying he sent Boromir originally to go and get the ring rather than join the Fellowship to destroy it. He wanted Boromir to bring the ring back so he could defend Gondor with its power.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then someone says, I think it's Faramir, says, I would never use the ring ever.
Denethor says, and we'd keep it here safe underground unless we need it. And then we could use it. Whereas he is like, no.
Yeah, it's like nukes. It's like, we'll have them. We're never going to use them, but we might. We might use them.
But you never know.
You just never know. Someone else might have a ring. We got to use our ring for
Just to be safe.
Terran.
They get 2
I
rings,
love
we've got to
how-
get 5 rings.
I love how everyone thinks it's this really powerful thing, but you put it on and you just go invisible. It doesn't work for you guys.
Just some king sat in his throne room being like, ha, wait. Wait. And like nobody outside that room is affected because he's just turning invisible in his little bedroom.
Just ring race turn up like bailiffs to take it back.
It's like, no, but I'm different, guys. It'll definitely work for me.
Hmm.
I can change it.
Yeah. So yeah, I just put the note. I wouldn't use the ring ever. Okay, that's what they all say. Faramir knows that Boromir was on the edge of being corrupted as well, doesn't he?
From
He
Two Towers.
Yeah, he kind of tries to get that across a bit to his dad, where he's like, no, Boromir wasn't like totally uncorruptible. He was like not coping well being that close to the ring. He refers to him as a wizard's pupil. Why does he say that?
That's just because he's taking Gandalf's side.
Yeah, it's kind of his version of, well, if you love Gandalf so much.
Fair. Will you marry him?
Yeah.
And then the king / steward fell back. He just fell back, like mid-conversation sort of fell back because he saw sort of vision of Boromir behind Faramir. And I didn't really know if that was magic of some kind because I just didn't really get it. Like I didn't know any of this backstory about corruption or if he was cursed or if it was just grief. And I think at this point, I just thought he was just overcome with grief because his favorite son's dead. He's seeing images of him and it's like physically paining him. I just thought
I think that's where the film tries to take it. Yeah, it doesn't bother with the rest of it.
I stopped hating him quite so much because I just was like, this is just a dad that has got a dead son. And you can humanize him a little bit then, even though he's doing lots of horrible shit and he eats tomatoes like a psychopath.
Never look at a tomato the same way again.
Hideous behaviour. And then we've got hobbits climbing up the steep steps. Gollum reaches for the ring, and there's a weird standoff because Gollum's reaching to, like, obviously kill Frodo / take the ring when Frodo needs a bit of help up. Sam is beneath Frodo, climbing behind him, and yet threatens Gollum by pulling his sword. It's like, dude, what are you going to do with that sword? You are further down than Frodo is. Further away from Gollum, when you throw the sword at him, like you haven't got a spare hand to be lunging a sword at Gollum. Like if he dies, you die. He calls Samwise fat. I just put a note. My note just says, "Don't call Samwise fat, you fucking creep." He's not even that fat. He walked about 8,000 miles. Some of that carrying Frodo. If this motherfucker's got any weight left on him, it's a miracle because he's not eaten for days because he's given all his food to Frodo. Like, don't come at him. That's not cool.
Gollum is not in a position to body shame anyone.
He's not. I mean, he's pretty shredded. Mark can testament to that. At this point, there's nothing about. Maybe you can enlighten me. Maybe there's something about his character that is meant to be fat in the books, but this just seems like a slight on Sean Astin because Sean Astin's a little bit heavier in this, but there's no reason anyone would be out of shape after living this life for the last 20 years of Quest. Like, no one would be fat.
No, there's no explicit evidence in the books that Samwise was fat.
So I feel like they're just shaming Sean Astin at this
The
point.
books describe him as sturdy. The gardening work implies physical fitness.
Yeah, so I don't like that. There's something about that just left a bad taste. It was unnecessary. Then the head wraith says, "Send for the 4 legions. He will break the wizard." That's pretty badass, just saying you're going to break a wizard like Gandalf. Like, we know how strong Gandalf / Saruman is. He's just like, yeah, I'm going to fucking break him. And it's just really cool. He's giving the Power Ranger bad guy vibes that I got from Sauron in the opening intro of the first movie. Because it's literally just bad guy in big cool armor instructing other bad guys to go and just fuck people up. I was like, this is cool. I like this. I like where this is going. It's going to a big standoff. The Hobbit gets Foromir's armor from when he was a kid, and they have a super gay back and forth. It was just weird. He was like, yeah, this is mine from when I was a kid. And they just have this really big back and forth, like, you were a child the size I was. I'm a bit taller than you are now.
I'm 43 now.
You'd be great. And we get it. He's short, he's wearing your armor, and it's grand. Fine, whatever. The king orders Osgiliath to be taken back. Don't know what Osgiliath is.
That's the place they lost, they ran from.
The garrison.
Yeah.
Cool. So he orders that to be taken back. I think I did know that, actually. And that's cool. To me, that felt not like a stupid move because I know he's probably bad at this point. And in my head, he's either grieving and making poor decisions or he's kind of working for Sauron, I thought maybe, this bad king. I thought he was maybe a bit of an inside man. But you can't just play defense against Sauron. Like, you can't just sit there and have this huge army just amass and come to you. So it doesn't seem like the worst idea in the world to try and take back this little garrison. I think you're meant to be like, oh, he's just trying to kill his own people. He's being shit. But I was like, you got to do something. You can't just sit there. And then maybe some communication with the other armies, short of some fire, would have been good at this point to coordinate some kind of strategy. Yeah, this was a strange one. So they've accepted all this help from all the men across the land, and yet no one really knows when anyone's going to show up. No one really knows how they're going to show up, how many people there are, what kind of strategy they might have. I just thought they could have put something in place so they just knew what the plan was. But they've only had, hundreds of years of this army building up to know that there might be a problem with Sauron. That is what it is.
Well, I think it's more Sauron's broken down all the communications, like with King Theoden being controlled by Saruman and Palantir's not quite showing the truth. It's just broken down those relationships, so anything that was there doesn't quite work anymore.
But they had the beacons. And to me, to have the beacons, that's a plan to say, like, at some point, if it all kicks off, we're all going to be needed. I would have liked to think that the beacons came with an instruction manual on what you do next. Like, so everyone knows, right, if the beacons are all lit, it means 3 days until armies are mobilized or something. You know what I mean? But
No, that's fair.
then cutting to Frodo again now. He is sleeping as close to the edge of the cliff as humanly possible.
Hobbitly
Don't know.
possible.
Hobbit, love it. Love it. Halflingly possible. He's just so close to the edge. Why is he so close to the edge? The closest. He's one little... He's off dead. So Samwise wakes him up and he's all pathetic. I've not had enough sleep, Sam. I need to go back to sleep. There's a war happening, little man. You need to wake up. The elven bread's all gone. Smeagol is framing Sam for it, of course, because he's all of a sudden just decided that he's fat. Frodo is so easily swayed by Gollum for basically no reason. He has no reason to trust Gollum. He has years worth of reasons on why to trust Sam, and yet instantly trusts Gollum over Sam in this one thing of like, oh yeah, he's gonna steal the bread and try and steal the ring off you. But he hasn't trusted Sam, saying all this stuff that has been like substantiated for the last however many times they've been following Gollum. I just don't get it. I get that he's corrupted by the ring. How does that mean he's corrupted by Gollum?
I think the ring is just making him more pessimistic, more untrusting of anything good, anything wholesome. I mean, this doesn't happen in the book. This is purely a film decision. In the book, Sam never leaves. Sam's there because Sam was the best.
Then I just said, don't send Sam home, please. But they did. And then I said, you will die instantly without him. And there's just more Hobbit / steward nonsense. Then the food thing happens. So Pippin is instructed to sing a song. Pippin sings a beautiful song. It's lovely. It's really, really nice. And in the backdrop of that song, there's orcs ready to kill. And there's kind of something beautiful about that. There was something really nice about this song, and then just contrasting that with these orcs preparing to just murder. I don't know why it also tied in this king just eating like a hedonistic warthog, just mouthing this fruit like he was trying to make it come. It was hideous. It was just exploding juice all over his face and hands. And why was that choice made? What feelings was it trying to elicit? I don't understand this scene. I just know it made me dry up in places I didn't think anatomically possible.
Well, I interpret it as with it showing that the charge is kind of like Charge of the Light Brigade, where it's just into certain death. It just shows that he doesn't care that he sent his son to his certain doom.
Okay.
So he's just living his life, being a disgusting man.
He's not moved at all by the song. He's not moved by the fact his son's about to die. He's just chowing down on horribly juicy tomatoes.
It was just horrible. And then again, it kind of harked back to the scene with Gollum and the raw fish. It was just two scenes here where they decided to really go all out on eating disgusting food. I don't know why.
Only bad guys eat messy food in Lord of the Rings. Yeah,
I guess, yeah. So yeah, I don't know why it was trying to go down the disgusting route, but it definitely makes sense that it was trying to show his greed and hedonism and just lack of empathy. So yeah, it was a strange scene. It elicited some strange feelings in me, but mostly disgust. The army was building on the human side a little bit, and orcs are pushing their siege equipment, getting ready to siege on the citadel really nicely, kind of building up to what I think is going to be a really fun crescendo at this point, because I'm just seeing armies amassing. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a cool battle. Karl Urban looks even dumber in this movie than it did in the last one. The road to the dim halt is something that is said, and none who venture there shall ever return. This was the little offshoot through the mountain, and the green glowing guy is kind of beckoning Aragorn to go that way. Then Éowyn is talking to someone about getting involved in this war. I believe it's Theoden, and Theoden says, war is the province of men. She's like, no, fuck you. Éowyn's just great. I think we've finally got a strong female character that is doing shit and isn't just serving a man. I don't know why it's taken this long to have one. And she's got a really Welsh name, so obviously I'm on Team Éowyn. We've got Aragorn having dreams about the tunnels and the statues, so we think this is probably the path that they've just talked about that they can't go down because everyone dies when they go there, which I have a problem with, because how can you have a path that no one who ventures that way ever comes back. Who's keeping record of that? Why has no one investigated what's going on at that point? You can't just be like, oh, you just die when you go that way. You gotta be curious and send like 30 guys at the same time or something, don't you? It's like we don't just have the Bermuda Triangle and go, oh yeah, you just die if you go there, you go missing. No, we sent a bunch of boats and then went, oh no, it's fine actually, it's not a problem. It's just those storms every now and again. They could have just sent 30 guys and be like, no, it's just a pack of wolves there. They just outnumbered the random children that wandered there a few times. Elrond is saying that Arwen is dying. The light of the even star is failing. Aragorn pulls out his massive sword in the tent with Elrond. And then this is the gayest scene I've seen in the movie. So there's lots of little man love things happening back and forth. It seems to be some subtext I'm not picking up. But most of it's during conversations that aren't very interesting. So maybe I'm just trying to find stuff that isn't there because I'm a bit bored. All the elf stuff's going on in my head at this point, to be honest. I've stopped caring about the elves and their lore. They're really boring to look at. Whenever they're on screen, it's just this kind of dark blue tone that's not particularly visually appealing. And it's all just a story of like, oh, they go into the afterlife place, or they go in back to the elf place, or they die, and it just doesn't really matter either way. There's nothing at stake. Should I care about the elves? Do any of you care about the elves at this point, really? Are you watching this being like, where is Arwen going to end up? Is she going to fall in love? Like, are any of you watching that thinking that? Or are you just like, oh, come on, take me back to the people that matter?
Elves are kind of done at this point, aren't they?
Yeah, I think in the book, the whole Aragorn thing is more of an appendices. He thought it was really important to the story because it reflects why Aragorn is the way he is because of her, but couldn't find a way to fit it into the story itself.
It does seem messy, sort of shoehorned in. Aragorn, he sort of chins off Éowyn. Éowyn's up for a bit of Aragorn action, and she's also perfect, so I'm not really sure why Aragorn's not interested. She's much more his type than Arwen. Like, she's into her swords. She's not just lingering in a forest somewhere. I'm really not sure what Aragorn's playing at, to be honest.
She can't cook, though.
No, but she can with a sword. Legolas, he's really poetic in this movie as Legolas, isn't he? He doesn't have many lines, but the lines he does have are all poems.
Him and Gimli go quite quiet in this film.
Gimli's very quiet in this film. After the scene where he gets pissed, he's got basically nothing to say. And Legolas only really has a couple of speaking parts, and it's poems both times, really. Which I don't really have a problem with. It was just a strange sort of turn for the characters. So he sort of has this sort of poetic comment about a mountain death trap, and they decide they're going to go up there. And then my brain was like, oh, I bet that's where all the dwarves are. They've been hiding in this mountain because, the mines got taken over or something. So I was really excited because Gimli's following him and he's like, oh, I'm not going to go. It's a bit scary. But he goes, and I was like, he's going to love it. He's going to go. It's going to be this massive payoff because he's going to find all these dwarves that he's been missing. Nah, it didn't happen. Gimli's still great, though, because he's a bit scared to go in. He's like, I'd never hear the end of it if the elf went in and he was too scared. So I thought that was quite funny. And then I just said, yeah, and there's not as much from him in this movie so far, but I hope he gets some more lines and a bit more screen time. But he didn't.
The scale's kind of increased, so you can't just have that little bit like in Helm's Deep where you could focus on him a bit more.
Yeah, he doesn't really get time to be his little funny, witty self because it's a bit too much going on there. Merry gets just absolutely parred off. Like, he's ready to go into battle, and Theoden's like, mate, what are you playing at? Like, none of us have got room for you. We're not wasting a horse on you, and no one else wants to carry you, so nah. I just thought that was quite funny, because he's got in his head he's going to go to war, and Theoden's just like, nah, don't be silly. But Éowyn has snuck a horse up there, and obviously she's got room for him because she's just faultless. It's kind of cool. Not saying he's fully redeemed just yet, but it is cool that he's up for riding into battle. I think that's what I like about both the little hobbits in this one, is that they have decided they are both really ready to fight for something they actually care about. Well, they haven't really seemed to care about much up until now, have they?
No, since they've separated, they're both definitely matured in their perspective. Maybe because their mates have gone now, they kind of see the impact of it all because it affects them a bit more instead of just being a childish schoolboy, both just playing off each other for laughs.
That's it. I think they do just feed off each other and encourage each other. And then, yeah, when they're separate, it's almost like the person they love the most is definitely each other. And because they're separated, they don't really know if the other one is alive or not, do they? So they're a little bit fighting for them as well. They just need to be separated. They're like naughty school kids.
Suddenly they're getting A's.
Yeah. Massive orc army. They're at the city walls now. There's ogres / trolls, whatever they are, banging drums. Good shit is my note. Good shit. Dead army. Who's the leader of this dead army? He's got a lot to say.
And he's the king of the dead, I guess.
What's the story with the dead?
I think it's loads of people who broke their oaths and went to hide in the mountains and all just died there, and now they formed like a little cult of dead people.
Do you want the real though?
Please.
Sure.
And he's Lord Dud!
So this is an army that was originally allied with Sauron, but they betrayed Sauron and joined Isildur and Elendil. They swore oaths of fealty to them, saying, we'll join you to take down Sauron. But when it came down to the time to actually take on Sauron, they were like, nah, it's good. So they broke their oath and they refused to come out and help him. So Isildur cursed them, because in this world, breaking an oath is a very powerful thing. So he cursed them that they would never rest. That's just one army that never joined the battle of the last alliance. And so when they died, they never passed on to the afterlife. They were just lingered as wraiths and ghosts. Only Isildur's heir could free them from this curse.
So it's just one army.
Yes, it's big.
There's so many of them, yeah.
It's probably why I was so pissed that they didn't arrive.
So they were just like dishonored fighters. So the leader of that is like what would have been the leader in that army then. It's not like some Grim Reaper character that was already dead and then led those souls or something.
No.
Cool. Okay, that makes more sense because now that makes sense why Aragorn was the one that had to free them. Did Aragorn know about this then? Because he seems to know that he's got the power to free them.
You know the poem that Legolas said before they went into the Paths of the Dead? That was like from a seer from 1,000 years ago that foretold that this would happen, and so it's kind of like a poem that's been well known. So maybe that's why he knew.
So Aragorn was like, that might be me.
Yeah.
Just take it at face. It's probably me. Look at me. I'm class.
He seemed to know that the sword was the key to it as well, didn't he?
Mm.
The only one who can wield that sword to command the army of the dead. And he's like, well, I've got the sword now. Gotta do it.
So Aragorn was offered them honor to fight for them. And then they dissipate. And then, holy shit, lots of skulls fall out of the building. Like, so many skulls come out. Whoa.
At least 3.
At least.
And I just put the note, if all of these skulls are one guy and all of them fight, this battle is won. Like, that's so many guys. So many skulls. And then Faramir is dying, ? What have I missed? Yeah, I missed this. Faramir is just lying on a stretcher. I don't know what I've missed, but he's lying on a stretcher and appears dead. And I was like, what's happened here?
Not really. I think we just see him being dragged through the gates, don't we?
Yeah, he rides back to Osgiliath and he gets dragged through the gates, put on his horse a while later.
So I didn't really get this. And we'll get into the weird funeral cremation bit in a bit. But is he injured or does he get made unconscious by like magic or something?
No, I think he's just severely injured from a battle, and that's around the time they launch all the heads of his men over the walls, isn't it? To try and
Yeah, got to that bit. That was fun. Because the general, he goes, release the prisoners. And then the catapults go, and I was like, oh, they're like aiming the catapults to like little jail cells in the where they've caught some. Oh, nope. Heads. So many heads. So many just severed heads being launched in, which is such a flex because they're not going to kill anyone or do any damage. That is just a flex. I was like, this is fucking cool. Okay, yeah, so then the walls start getting pelted. The rocks are coming, catapults are coming. Women and children are still right by the walls. Like, they're still there. Catapults are firing rocks at these walls, and the women and children are now starting to run away from the walls. I'm like, why are they still there? Why have they not already retreated? The steward is being a bitch. He gets slapped by Gandalf, which is really funny. Gandalf then takes charge because everyone's been like instructed to retreat. He's just like given up. He's like, right, no, we're going to die. Everyone retreat. So some soldiers immediately are like, yeah, retreating. And then Gandalf just takes over and goes, no, don't you dare. And he does that thing where he just like inspires hope. He's just gotten those scared people to turn around and get back to their station, which is really cool. Then again, the eel dragons come and the screeches happen again. And I've just put a note that they need to kill these eel dragons because they are just dominating. Like they're just sweeping guys off the walls. They're just too powerful. So they need to do something. And Peregrine is being a liability. He's trying to kill something, and Gandalf's like, "Nah, you gotta go, mate. You're just a little boy."
Even though he saves Gandalf's life, Gandalf's like, you just go, please. Jeez.
Yeah. And then everything gets stuck, so they can't breach the door, and they go, Grond will breach it. And at this point, I've seen you guys in the WhatsApp group say Grond a bunch of times. And I'm excited because I've now heard Grond. My note says, I feel like Grond is about to become my new favourite character. And then
How wrong you were.
And I thought, oh, it's not a character at all. It's just a battering ram. I was hoping for like a. This probably says more about me than anything else, but I was hoping for just a really hench dude. I was going to be on side with. I was picturing like Two Towers when that guy comes in with the bomb and he run. You know, that massive bloke started running in with. I was picturing something like that, but like
Just a
8
big orc
guys.
that can take the door down. Yeah.
Yeah. Really elaborate battering ram with fire in it. It's cool. Really cool.
Yeah, it gets such a hype intro, and it's relevant for like 3 minutes.
But I'm here for it. It's fine. Not everything orcs do is going to be particularly logical, I suppose. The dead army is killing the pirates. Good shit. Frodo and Gollum still exist. I have lost hope, even though I'm sure Frodo. I'm sure Frodo won't fail because that's not the vibe. Like this movie's not going to end with Frodo dying before he can destroy the ring. It's just not gonna. I just know he is going to rely on someone else to save him. This is obviously a trap with Gollum. And Gollum has told everyone but him that it's a trap. So we know. He's told everybody that he's walking Frodo into a trap. So I don't know why anybody directing this film is expecting they're setting up any kind of suspense. Frodo is about to use a bottle of light to try and get this spider away. There's a big spider. I should have mentioned that. There's a big spider. Again, if I was watching this back in 2003, I probably would have been like, holy shit, that's a big spider. But I've seen Harry Potter at this point. I've seen about 9 million different films that have got bigger and scarier spiders. So maybe it hasn't got the shock value it did have, which is unfair of me.
What's the spider's name?
Mutter something in Welsh.
Article? Don't know. What is it?
Shelob?
Shelob.
Oh, the orcs say it, don't they?
Mm.
The subtitles said that there was some Elvish at this point. Frodo does something with the ball of light, and he says some Elvish. What Elvish does he say, please?
He says, "Hail Erendil, brightest of stars."
Alexa, turn on hall light.
But Frodo doesn't know what the words mean. It's just like an ancient cry inspired by desperation.
Okay, yeah. So this is when I start to understand the spider was that scary, she that Gollum's been going on about. It's a little bit underwhelming because I was picturing like snake / centaur lady that was like half snake and like super scary and tall and imposing. I wasn't expecting it to just be a big fluffy spider, to be honest. I thought it'd be like something a bit more human. And then, oh no, Gollum's trying to kill Frodo. Who would have seen that coming? Oh my goodness. Fucking eye roll. And even now, when Frodo was seen where Gollum's taken him, Gollum has literally tried to kill Frodo, like in front of him with his hands. Frodo still spares him. Frodo still can't finish the job. Like, he has a chance, he has his sword out, he still can't do it. What's his problem?
I think he sees a lot of himself in Gollum.
Well, yeah, because he's becoming him.
Yeah.
And then, next scene, we're cutting out to the scene where all sort of man armies are amassing. I've just put a note. I don't think I've ever seen this many horses in one place or on the same TV screen at any time. It was a lot of horses. I've never seen that many horses together, even if they were like CGI or whatever it is. It was just so many fucking horses.
They were real horses. A lot of the riders were actually women in makeup and fake beards because they couldn't get enough male riders.
That's really funny. God, that said a lot, doesn't it? It's taken the orcs a long time to start using fire. After Grond has started coming, now they're catapulting things that are on fire. That would have been my first approach, to be honest, to try and fuck this place up, was to catapult rocks that were on fire and stuff. And the same with the defense to the castles. Like, you would have thought that they would have had some, oil pouring systems and fire to actually defend the walls close, because all they could do when everyone gets real close to the wall is just firing arrows straight down at them. They have oil, they have fire, they have a good awareness of all that. You thought they might have had some oil traps, and I would have liked to see that effect happen. I just wanted to see lots of fire get poured on orcs. That would have been cool. Grond is still seemingly just a stone wolf. Yeah, I've not quite resigned to the fact that that is Grond yet. When I'm watching this, I still thought Grond might be someone that's operating that thing or inside it or something, but it does seem just like a wolf. There's a flower sprouting on the dead tree. That's probably symbolic of something. Then we've cut to Faramir's body being taken to the crematorium now. And then little Hobbit is like sneaking behind them on the bridge, but he's like just behind them. Like there's nothing between him and them, but he's still like, crouched over and tiptoeing. Oh, there's no point in that, mate. Okay, at this point, I made myself a note because I was over noting, and I did make myself the note. I just wrote "enjoy the battle," Rhys. So I had to like literally write down just enjoy the battle. So I sat down and just watched and enjoyed the battle. So I have no notes on the battle really. It was just great, is my note. I just really thoroughly enjoyed it. It just Lord of the Rings is good at battles, isn't it? The spider's back. So Frodo's kind of fought off the spider the first round, and the spider's back now, kind of stalking him. And it seems like it's gotten bigger already. It's not very nice to look at now, because now it's gone from being like a front-on enemy to like being a creepy spider that's like stalking him, and now it's a little bit scary. I don't like it. And then it just stabs Frodo. It just drops down and stabs him. And I just put, imagine if he's dead, lol. It's like, imagine if after all of this, it's like just one straight stab in the gut and he's done. And for a bit, I thought he was, to be honest, because he went really fucking limp and got really wrapped up in that web. I was like, oh shit, he's just dead. He's just outright dead.
I say, as we were watching this, I was watching it thinking, does Rhys think he's dead now?
Before he got wrapped up, I was like, it would be funny, but no. But then it starts twisting him up. Again, more terrible ragdoll CGI when he's like twisting him up. Samwise comes to save him. And then this is where I've put, is this a dream? Because it looks lethal. It can't be anything but lethal. He's like being shaken around by this spider. And it's absolutely covered in web. The only two things in my head were he is dead or this is a dream. No part of me thought he would survive that. So I thought he must be dead. Okay, so then Sam's brought his bottle of light and he's fighting the spider. He's doing a great job, to be fair. He's like stabbing him around. And I put the little note here. If Sam dies now, I'm quitting the podcast. That was my note I wrote. I wasn't ready for Sam.
We need to find a film with like a character just unexpectedly dies for Rhys just to see his reaction now.
I'd struggle if it's someone as cute as Sam. Sam opened the web and I just thought that was really gross. There was like some clumpy green left around his eye.
Yeah.
And, like, web over the corner of his eye a little bit there. I was like, this is really horrible. I was just a little bit still feeling for Elijah Wood. I was like, that looks like it feels gross.
Having to pretend to be dead while knowing that's on your face.
Yeah, well, his eyes were open as well. He like kept his eyes really well open. For that's grim. Sam said, because he thinks Frodo's dead now, and he said, don't go where I can't follow. And I just put, fuck off, Sam, I'm going to cry. And I nearly did. I nearly had a little cry there for Sam. Not for Frodo, but for Sam, just because he was so and he's just so loyal. And he's like, the idea that he couldn't support Frodo in death was breaking him. And I was like, this is unreal. The sword turned blue, and I remembered that meant there's orcs nearby because it's a racist sword.
Well done.
I gave myself a gold star because I said I remembered a thing. That's good. And then Frodo just wrote they're going to take Frodo to go and get diddled. Because they're just like a little bit weird in what they were saying. They were like, Shelob likes to paralyze her prey before she has her way with them. And then they were like, they're going to take him and he's going to wish he's never been born. I was like, well, what are they going to do if not rape him then? So it was a weird scene.
Torture, Rhys. Just good old-fashioned torture.
Are you telling me you don't think orcs would have raped him?
I didn't even consider that as an option.
Okay. Consider it now and let me know your answer. These primal beings that run on just the urge to kill and probably fuck. You think they're not raping this little hobbit?
I'm just going to say I just hope they wouldn't. Just leave it at that.
We all do. Then they're building the fire for the cremation. Pippin gets dragged away and he just says a few times, he's not dead. He shouts that, he's not dead. And I just put, say more. Like, just say more words to these other people. Don't just say he's not dead. Be like, he's evil, he's faking it. Or like, oh, I just saw him move or something. Don't just say he's not dead over and over. Because it's not working. I was a bit stressed out.
I mean, at that point, who's really the evil one? Denethor or the city guard just going, nah, fuck it, let's burn him anyway.
Following orders.
I guess, yeah. It's a tough one, isn't it? I didn't quite understand in this whether Denethor knew he was dead or not.
I think in his grief he did think he was dead.
Yeah, I did put a note later. I said, I don't get it. Was he mad or was he just overcome by grief and didn't really know what was what? So yeah, it's hard to tell. No.
Yeah, I think it was definitely grief stricken.
Okay, then we cut to the Nazgul. He's got a flame sword now. He's got like a double sword. He's got a sword which has the things going across it, and then a bit more sword, and then things going across it again, then loads more sword, and then that sword catches fire. That's really cool. He had a cool sword. Even Shadowfax is scared of this sword. Gandalf's staff gets broken, so I was like, this sword is fucking cool. Big capital letters, the army of boys is here. So, like, everyone now has amassed up on the hills. Like, all the horses have turned up. And, yeah, 2 hours 35's in. And King Theoden is saying, ride for death. And they are chanting death like they want it. And it is like reminiscent of like riding into Valhalla vibes. They are like, we're going to fucking die. We're here for it. And again, second time in this movie, I have genuine goosebumps and shivers down my spine. 100% genuine. I was on fire watching this. It was so much was happening in me. It was just unbelievable. It was just such a huge scale of what was happening. And then you've got all these people just willing to die for this group of strangers. They're so far away from this group, but they're like, we're willing to fucking die for them because we know this is right. Shivers. Fantastic.
Can you remember any of his speech?
No. I just remember them all chanting death at the end.
Ride for ruin, ride for wrath, and the Red Dawn. Any of that familiar?
Yeah, one for the rhythm, one for the ride. Cool running. Yeah, that one.
Forth, and fear no darkness! Arise! Arise, riders of Theoden! Spears shall be shaken! Shields shall be splintered! A sword day! A red day! And the sun rises! Rise now! Rise now! Rise! Rise for ruin and the world's ending! Death!
Death, death, death. Great metal lyrics. Yeah.
Pretty positive overall then.
That part always gives me goosebumps as well. Sometimes I just watch that YouTube scene of the speech and the charge because just watching the orcs shit themselves and they realize nothing they can do is going to stop it.
Yeah. I think that's one of those things that uniquely needed 8 hours of movies before
It
it.
needed 2.5 films before it, yeah.
Yeah. One film wouldn't have been able to create that emotion.
Because he has changed so much. Last film, it was like, no, fuck him. Where were they when Westfold fell? Why should we help them? They've never helped us, and now he's there, sacrificed.
He was kind of like that at the beginning of this film as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, huge, really huge. That's fantastic. Back to the cremation. Yeah, that's fine. That's sort of wrapping up now. And then Gandalf said, oh God. Yeah, Gandalf's talking to Pippin, maybe, about being scared of death. And he says, death is just another path, one we all must take. I just put, those are irresponsible words for me to hear right now, bro. Not in the place, but there we go. We go to the battlefield out front, and Eowyn is kicking ass, absolutely kicking ass. There's an eel dragon, and Eowyn slays that shit. And my note is, it's embarrassing how easy she took the head off that thing. Like, all the men should be embarrassed that she just first slash near one of those things, takes its head off. No one else has been able to touch him. So that was good stuff.
No one else has been practicing that two-swipe thing that she's been practicing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The boys pulling up in a ship. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, we've got Gimli and Legolas now going being like, hey, it's us. And then they show up with the cheat code army that just go and just take just fucking delete the rest of the army. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the book, the ghosts get released after they kill the pirates. They kill all the pirates and okay, we're done. and he lets them go. This doesn't really happen. It's more military tactics and
Yeah,
this
I
point.
guess in this film they didn't pay any of those actors to do combat for this movie, I guess, because I don't think any of the main boys do any combat in this.
They do a little bit here where they're like fighting the elephants and stuff, but
Yeah, might be nice to see a little bit of a tiff between them and the pirates.
the ghosts are anticlimactic in this. Feels like they just didn't have a satisfying way to end the battle, so it's just like they won.
They do just
It's like-
go, yeah, that army, they just fade to green. They're gone. No.
Yeah, zoom out, fade to green. Done.
Yeah. And then back to Eowyn. No man can kill me. I am no man. Fucking just fantastic. Bit telegraphed, but great. For this movie and in this context where she's the only woman doing anything of any substance, fantastic. And then she just stabs that fucker in the face. That's what she does. She just stabs it in the face.
Why didn't Gandalf try that?
This was my note. I said, "Oh, so they can die." Andy said they couldn't die. Is my note because you said they couldn't. They were trying to kill them in the first movie. They were like waving fiery swords at them, and I was like, "Oh, is that how you kill them? You need like a sword on fire?" And you said, "No, you can't kill them."
They were doing swing attacks, not thrust attacks.
So my question is the only way to kill an Nazgul to stab it in the face?
I am not sure. I'm not going to say that yes, but all I know is the Witch King uniquely cannot be killed by man. But like the others, can I just banish the bodies as opposed to like anything else? But Witch King gets stabbed in the face, dies. So no.
I was here for it. It was good stuff. It just confused me a little bit because I was like, I guess they do have like flesh then. So this is a little bit of a reverse of Eowyn because Eowyn's getting her ass kicked a little bit now by Sloth from Goonies, and then a little bit embarrassing how easy Aragorn just cuts his arm off. He just comes up and goes, "Shoop," and his arm's gone, and then someone else comes and goes, "Shoop," he's dead now. So he's gone. He's just dead.
I really liked how easy it was for him, but it was such a big thing for her, and they didn't even notice that anything was going on. They were like, "Yeah, next, okay, carry on."
There's like, "Oh, there's no that. Yep, choo choo choo, done." Yeah, it's a fun one. Poor Eowyn.
I mean, she did just kill the Witch King.
Yeah, you're right. Next note, I'm not my note is I'm not sure how I feel about killing the elephants. That was tough. That was a tough one. Like, I still can't really settle with them just killing the elephants. Because, I don't know, just in my head still just goes to elephants in our world. So I'm like, oh no, the poor endangered things. We shouldn't be killing them. I know they're just like pure destruction. But like, most of them can be dealt with by just cutting that armor off and then they all fall off big elephants. So it's like when Legolas gets on top of that elephant and just like nails down into its skull. So is that necessary? But it probably is. Maybe they've been trained to just go for the city even if they haven't got a rider. Then yeah, I just put King is dead. He was good, but what was his name?
Théoden. He dies of his wounds talking to Eowyn. And
Yeah,
that actually got me. I've watched this film so many times. And for the first time ever, I started crying at that, and I have no idea why.
Bro. Yeah, because he definitely redeemed himself, didn't he? Like we've said, he became really quite a good leader.
The speech that he's given Eowyn, telling her to let him go and how he can go to the hall of his fathers and not be ashamed that he wasn't a good king. I don't know. Just got to me.
Then Aragorn frees the dead. I said maybe he could have asked him to kill the rest of the Nazgul first. That's what I had done. And while you're here, guys, there's 8 others. Can you just go and take care of them?
Just like Gimli was suggesting.
Yeah, fancy coming to Mordor.
Yeah, literally. Then, so Carl Urban runs to Eowyn and is like crying over her. I missed her dying. I didn't see her die.
She got fucked up. I don't think she died.
No, because she marries someone at the end.
Okay, yeah. They definitely fucked Frodo, is my next note. Frodo, sorry, because he's not even wearing that many clothes when we cut to him next, guys. Just saying, like, he's had his clothes removed as well. The orc infighting will always be funny. It's like, that's just always going to be something that's funny. They've got something important to do. One of them calls each other something, or they want to try and steal something, and then just, it's like domino. The whole city of orcs was just kicking each other's ass because one guy wanted, like, a t-shirt. Samwise was continuing to show us that if he had gotten picked to take the ring to Mount Doom, this would have been one single 88-minute movie. I think at this point he's like carrying Frodo or something, and he's just showing a lot.
He rescues him from the tower, doesn't he?
Yeah. By fighting his way up there, and then
literally just head-on combat with 4 other orcs and wins.
Yeah. So Samwise just goes, "I need to do this thing." And he just does it. He just gets to it. And I was just thinking, my God, if he'd taken the ring, we'd be home by now. Then Aragorn wants to draw Sauron's army to the Black Gate to free up space for Frodo. Solid plan, really good. Gimli's in. And the Sword of Elendil is mentioned. What's that? Is that different from Narsil, or is that a different word for it?
Was Narsil what it used to be called, and then it was reforged?
So when it's rebuilt, it's then the Sword of Elendil.
Yeah, I think because it's got elven
before.
runes on it now, it's different.
Yeah, make sure you tell me, because I need to describe it to my tattoo artist properly.
Yeah, it says Sword of Elendil is called Narsil. Was a powerful longsword forged by a dwarven smith. It was wielded by King Elendil during the War of the Last Alliance and was shattered when Elendil fell during battle.
Okay, so it was Narsil and also the Sword of Elendil.
Yeah.
Nice. Faramir is with who I thought was Eowyn. So now I'm getting my blonde women confused.
Yes, he is. This is Eowyn. They get married.
Is there only one blonde woman in this movie?
No, you got Galadriel's also blonde.
I think at some points I've probably seen Galadriel and thought it was Eowyn.
Different film.
Oh, there's only one blonde one in this movie.
Yeah.
It's always Eowyn.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. After Théoden's killed, she collapses. Karl Urban finds her. You could take her to the House of Healing. She's healing. We're here.
Cool.
Her and Faramir meet when they're both fucked up from their wounds.
Like,
Nice.
I'm healing too.
Then we've got the hobbits dressed up as orcs. Really silly. Quite funny, but really silly. They're just wearing these big baggy orc things that look like kids at Halloween. And then they get told there's going to be an inspection. What are they inspecting? This just seems like a plot device. Like, I can't possibly believe that orcs have regular inspections.
The grooming standards.
Yeah. Like, what? They're all wearing different uniforms. They all look entirely different from each other. What could they possibly be inspecting during an inspection apart from, in this scene, we know there are hobbits. We need to give the hobbits a reason to have some risk. So yeah, I didn't like that. I thought that was just false for the sake of being false. But Frodo whinging about the armor being too heavy is about right. Why is Sauron just looking at Mordor? It might be more useful to not look at rocks all day. Especially in this movie when you actually see the eye moving around quite a lot. He seems to spend a lot of time just sweeping his eye across mountains, which are really within his jurisdiction and he has no reason to worry about. Like, there's fuck all there.
It could just be bored, just seeing what's going on.
Does he know that there's hobbits there somewhere? Does he know that there's someone has breached Mordor and that's why he's looking? Or is Sauron just in the business of looking at Mordor? And is he doing anything else apart from looking at where that eye is looking? I don't quite get what Sauron is at this point. Like, is he just the eye looking at where that eye is looking? Because then how is he giving any kind of command to anyone?
I think at this point, I feel like he's just represented by the eye. But in this, you can see when he is then bested, everyone who was under his control, all of a sudden, it's like they break out of a spell and just run away. So I'm not sure if he's controlling them with some sort of power and that's how they're all doing his bidding.
Cool. Then we get to the Black Gate and they ask for the Lord of the Black Land to come out, who I'm guessing is Sauron. And then a guy comes out with a big helmet on and a really shit CGI mouth. And he's got really horrible teeth. And I'm like, why are they CGI'd this? They've got so many like orc type people with makeup on that are real and they talk normally. I don't really understand why they made the decision to CGI this dude because his mouth looks weird. It doesn't fit with anything else in the film. You know what I mean?
I thought that was just what Gary Busey's mouth looked like.
Don't know who Gary Busey is.
The guy
But
playing him.
it
He's in
seems
lots of stuff.
CGI, is it not?
He's got prosthetics in. They CGI'd his mouth to be bigger than it actually was, to be a bit unnatural. Originally, they were going to CGI it to be sideways to make it even weirder. So he's going to have like a sideways mouth. But yeah, Gary Busey's in lots of stuff. He's in Point Break, Predator, Lethal Weapon. He's a very well-known actor who just wanted to do this part, I think. But he has got a very recognizable smile anyway.
Yeah, it seemed like a weird one. It didn't fit.
Why is there a picture of Gary Busey here?
Oh yeah, bro, I don't think they actually gave him different teeth. Those are just his teeth. He's got the worst face ever. Look how asymmetrical his eyes are. And his nose is different sizes on each side. Draw a line down his face. One side is a good-looking dude. One side is a troll. And then he chucks Frodo's shirt at the team to prove that Frodo's dead, which is a bit naff because, like, he works for an army that catapult severed heads at people. So you'd think if they had a dead person, he'd have brought a head out with him or something. He wouldn't have just brought a top. So it feels like you know he's
Sure.
bluffing.
It doesn't quite work in the film because, like, Frodo's not dead. But in the book, you haven't heard from Frodo since he was taken by the orcs to the tower after Shelob. And then you just haven't heard from him until after this part in The Return of the King. So the reader has no idea if he's alive or dead either, but it doesn't quite work in the film.
Yeah, that would make a bit more sense if you didn't just know, because it's hard to really take it seriously, isn't it? Then I just thought, well, Aragorn isn't fucking around. He just kills this guy. Cuts this guy's head off. He's done. I was like, okay, Aragorn's getting pretty badass. Everyone's losing their patience at this point, which is good.
That's against international law, killing an ambassador.
That's a fair point. They turn around on their horses and run back to like join the army. And then I put, this has to be what Andy said is the shittest CGI in the whole trilogy. Is it the horses running back? You said Return of the King has the worst CGI in the whole trilogy. And I was like, this looks really fucking bad. The three horses of the three dudes just turning around from the Black Gate and coming back is dog shit. Like, it's awful. It looks so out of place for about 2 seconds and it's gone. Bunch of nonsense on the mountainside with Frodo and Sam. Sam being like, I can carry you. And just put, bro, you have been this whole franchise. And I just put big capital letters stab Gollum because I think there was an opportunity to stab Gollum and nobody did again. Eagles come. I forgot about them. I know about the Eagles, don't I? That was that whole plot hole thing that people talk about.
Yeah.
We'll talk about them in a little bit because they do a bit more later, don't they? But yeah, Gimli just went past the Eagles. I was like, cheers, Gimli. Thanks for reminding me.
Eagle there.
Yeah. He's a good egg, that Gimli.
He's just the kid that shouts car when you're playing in the street and you car.
Take your ball, take it to the side. Okay, we're good. Gollum dead? Question mark. Ring just lying on top of lava? Question mark. And then eventually the ring settled into the lava, and I was like, thank God, I can't deal with any more of the ring not making it into the lava. I was like, no,
Yeah.
don't do this to me now.
Just to build suspense.
Bullshit reason it can't melt there.
Yeah. At that
yeah,
point,
that was-
Frodo's like hanging off the edge, so you're not sure if he's alive or dead. But the ring just floating on that crust just gives Sam enough time to rescue Frodo.
Yeah. So yeah, awesome. That goes down. North Tower is down.
So they obviously see the volcanoes erupting and the towers collapsing, and it's like, yeah, fucking hell, Frodo's done it. But then it starts erupting more violently, and they go, oh shit, Frodo's still in there. He's fucking dead. And they suddenly stop celebrating, and they're all very sad.
Yeah.
The battle before that, where Aragorn is fighting the big dude.
A troll.
I believe that was originally meant to be a fight with Sauron's physical form, was it?
That's correct. Yep.
And they just decided last minute, nah, let's just fight a troll instead.
Can't go the whole film telling you we can't physically manifest and then just go, fuck you if we can.
Is that from the books? Is Sauron's physical form in the books at the end?
Sauron's got a physical form all throughout the books, but he
wow,
never
okay.
comes out because he's leading like 6 wars, so he can't just go and fight in one battle.
Yeah. Saw something for behind the scenes thing where that flash of light from the volcano erupting where they all recoil was actually originally going to be from when Sauron manifests and they're all blinded by his evilness, and they just reused the shot to be a volcano erupting instead.
That's cool. I think they made the right choice there. I think that would have been quite distracting having Sauron on the battlefield now.
Yeah.
I'd have been too stressed out at that point. There would have been too much at stake.
Yeah. You knew you couldn't win, so they were just playing for time, really, weren't they? So.
And then now, somehow, Frodo and Sam have both got the energy to outrun a volcano, even though they didn't have the energy to crawl up to the top of it a second ago.
And he's just lost a shitload of blood as well.
Lava is a powerful motivator.
And then they're pretty sure they're going to die. They're kind of surrounded by lava, stuck on that rock on the side of the mountain. Sam is saying that if he ever would have married, he would have married Rosie Cotton. I cried again. Fuck's sake, I'm a melt, was my note there. The Eagles save Frodo. So I put, okay, I get the whole plot hole thing now. Okay, let's talk about it. So tell me why it's not a plot hole.
Because isn't it the Eagles are their own race, like alongside men and elves who have their own problems going on, and they don't actually really give that much of a shit about what happens to men. So the fact that they should just do our bidding doesn't really work.
So if that's the reason, why save Frodo?
They're friends with Gandalf.
So why couldn't Gandalf ask them as a friend, can you take this guy to Mount Doom, please?
Oh, he's already rescued them off the tower. He's already rescued him at that battle. How much do
He
you want?
died for a bit.
Yeah, he died for a bit in the middle.
When he decided Frodo was going to do it, why didn't he be like, and I've got these mates, they're eagles, they're going to take you.
Has anyone got a moth? I'll send them a message.
It'll be 20 minutes there and back.
Well, he couldn't tell anyone in the Fellowship because he didn't know if anyone was spies, and Sauron had like spies everywhere, so he couldn't mention it. If that was his plan, he couldn't tell anyone. So then, once he's dead and they all split up, what was he going to do? He doesn't know where they are.
I don't think he knows at that point if they're alive or not, does he? So he couldn't just send them out because he wouldn't know where to look for them.
Sorry, guys, I'm on team plot hole here. I'm on team those eagles were probably accessible before today and probably would have helped if someone had asked them. That's the team I'm on. Okay. Harry wakes up on Christmas morning in Hogwarts with Dumbledore and Hagrid, and they all have a lovely cuddle and get together. Grand. This is just basically shot for shot the end of every Harry Potter film. Then my note says, I don't know why I ever thought Legolas was bald. I'm so stupid. Aragorn is less hot now. He's the king. I think
Yeah,
he
he's
was
so
hotter when
much
he was
less
a bit
hot.
rugged, wasn't he?
Clean him up, it ruins him.
He's generally not as hot in this whole movie because
Yeah.
I think he's just not as chiseled and hasn't got the broodiness. But as soon as he gets a lick of regality, he's just just another guy now, mate. So yeah, he's now the king of Gondor, which is what I get from that. He has a big snog with someone. Who does he have a
Someone.
with?
Who do you think?
Arwen.
Yeah.
Arwen. Yeah, it should have been Arwen, really. Should have picked her. Arwen's just done nothing apart from wait for him. Then the hobbits all bow to him, and he says, my friends, you bow to no one, which is just fucking ace. And then everyone bows to the hobbits, which again, in my head, they're just bowing to Sam.
But they all
It's
just stand there
great.
like dumb idiots, just staring
Yeah.
at it. What? And it's like,
Yeah. I mean, Aragorn has largely done a lot of the heavy lifting, and he's like putting everything on these hobbits, being like, no, this is you guys. You do not need to bow to me just because I've got this crown. So yeah, really great. Then there's a nice song that plays, which is like really close to being World in Union, but not quite. It was a bit distracting, and I think that's probably something that the composer was aiming for.
Is that when Aragorn's just singing?
No, it's like the background song when we go back to the Shire.
Are you going to do your Shire stuff now, Andy, or later?
I mean, maybe if I get my music.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
And he's Lord Dog!
So in the book, there's quite a large difference when the hobbits go back to Hobbiton because, stuff's been happening while they've been gone. It's not just a simple, let's go back home and it's all happy. Remember how I said Saruman didn't die and he was just left with Treebeard? Yeah, well, dumbass tree. Just let him go. You've learned your lesson. You've got no power. Off you go.
Your favourite character?
Yeah. So whilst Frodo and Sam and everyone have been gone, one of the Sackville Bagginses has been selling weed to Saruman. And the Hobbit economy is all very insular. So this influx of money gives him massive power, and he hires humans to just beat the shit out of people, and he just takes over the Shire as a dictator with like Saruman as like his money man. So when Saruman is released, he's got no power. He goes up to Hobbiton and gets Wormtongue to kill the Hobbit in charge, and he just takes over Hobbiton. So when they all come back, they have to do one final battle. They rally as many hobbits as they can to fight the ruffian humans, and they kill 100 of them. And Frodo's the leader at this point, and he goes to Saruman, forgives him, and tells him to just leave because he was once a great man and he should just leave. So Saruman then throws Green under the bus and says, well, I didn't really do anything, it was all him. So then he stabs him in the back and he still dies that way. Somewhat different. The Shire's in ruins and Sam has to fix it. So Sam's like leading the fix. And yeah, bit of a difference.
Wow, okay. That is crazy. Because that was a note I had, was we're back at the Shire, and my first question was like, do they know anything that's been going on in the Shire? Because, I mean, there was a guy that just looked at them with disdain when they came back. So maybe that's a nod to all that shit that was maybe going on in the book.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anything has changed at all.
But also, I thought the Shire was dead, because I thought in the first movie we got a bit of a prophecy of like the orcs just decimating the Shire.
So you saw a bit of it in the Palantir. You saw the Shire on fire, like, oh, this is something that could happen.
Oh, but it didn't actually. Okay.
But it did in the book.
And then Sam got married. She's obviously really happy. I'm assuming that's Rosie Cotton.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Fun fact for me, not for anyone else. Sam's second daughter is called Eleanor, and that is my mum's middle name. They gave her a middle name because it was the one that they picked from The Lord of the Rings.
Cute. Frodo writes now, confirming that he indeed has nothing unique or special about him, and he's just copying Bilbo now, I guess. He went from copying Gollum to copying Bilbo. He's just pointless. And then, yeah, big one from Gandalf to end. This isn't the end, but there was nothing really significant about the last couple of minutes. One of them was crying. I can't remember who was crying. I think it was one of the little hobbits, and he just said, "Not all tears are an evil." I thought that was just a really nice sort of sentiment from Gandalf.
But what did you think about Frodo just going to live with elves?
Is that what happened?
Yep.
Do you watch ends of films, or do you just go, that's probably the end?
They,
and walk
they were
away?
going down to the
Okay,
docks.
there's a bit of that. I'm not going to lie. There is a bit of that. I was, it was gone midnight. I knew I was within 5 minutes of the end. And yeah, my attention gets spiky at that point.
The end to Son of the King's like 45 minutes, so you probably missed quite a lot if you just skipped it.
I didn't skip anything. It's just in that last sort of 5 minutes,
It was 45 minutes.
Yeah, I get it. But like they end it a lot of times, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
they do. There's a lot of false endings, especially in the
Yeah,
extended.
and after a couple of false endings, my attention's gone. It's just it's a silly way to make a movie, I think. Don't try
My
and-
dad was so angry in the cinema. He was just like, he kept standing up ready to leave, and I was like, oh my god. I'm sorry.
And Jack Nicholson apparently met Elijah Wood afterwards and kind of said, "Did you die?" And he's like, "What are you talking about? Did you watch the end of the film?" And he's like, "No, there were so many endings that I just got up and left and got the car ready for everyone else."
Yeah, I can sympathize with that. I can't. I just can't pay attention to that many endings. I just go, wow, fuck it. If it wasn't one of the first two you decided to show me, then it wasn't the most important. So I was sat here. It was on. I was probably on my phone.
So basically, they're going down the docks to see Bilbo off because he's going to go with the elves.
Oh, I
And
saw the very end
Yeah.
of it when Bilbo's like, "Oh, could I have a look at the ring one last time?" And I was like, "No, you
Yeah.
dirty fucking scavenger."
And then they all go, yeah, one more to board or something like that. And they go, oh, who? And then Frodo's really quiet, and all the other hobbits go, no, not Frodo. And yeah, Sam's distraught.
Yeah, that's fine. He can fuck off. He's useless anyway.
And then Sam becomes the writer.
That's better.
The very last line of the film is the same as the very last line of the book.
Which is
That's nice.
Is it something like "We're all done now" or something?
Why are you still here? Leave the cinema.
Well, I'm back, because he then gets back home to Rosie.
nice.
Oh, yeah.
That is cute. So yeah, that was Return of the King. That was it. That was the movie. I don't know what order you want to do this in. I just have two questions,
Okey-dokey.
which are kind of tied to not plot holes, but just things I want clarifying now that we're at the end of the trilogy. So my first question, again, why was Frodo the one for this? Because my initial thoughts were he's the one, he's uncorruptible. We've seen that's not the case. So why was Frodo the one that had to take the ring?
I always felt it was just coincidence because Bilbo had it and he was the closest person to him, so that's who he trusted with it the most.
But Gandalf said it has to be Frodo, and he has to go alone.
Was it to not spread around because he could trust Frodo, but you don't know kind of who else is evil?
So just a bit of chance. I don't know, for some reason I was under the impression it was a sort of chosen one scenario, but then Frodo was just in such a shit state from the ring. I was like, oh, he doesn't seem very chosen or pure. It seems like he's as vulnerable as everyone else to the ring's sort of
He
corruption.
does better than men.
I think hobbits are seen to have been kind of more backhanded compliment, less ambition, so they wouldn't feel that they'd use it for themselves.
They like the status quo, so they don't want to bother with becoming a politician and ruling an empire. They just want to chill at home.
I just feel like between him and Sam, if they just 50-50'd, so that both of them ended up half as corrupted as Frodo ended up, they'd have been fine, wouldn't they?
Until they were like almost there, Sam was like, let's just give it to someone else. Let's just turn back. Let someone else do this. But once he was over that hurdle where Frodo was definitely doing it, he's like, fine, we're fucking doing this. Let's just get this over with. At that point, Sam could have done it himself. But
Yeah, definitely.
before that,
Okay.
he probably would have palmed it off or given up.
Okay, so largely a bit of coincidence. And then my other question is, why couldn't the ring have been transported like in a bag or tied to a horse's satchel or something?
Would have found ways to escape.
Yeah.
It's very good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of the intro to the first film where it just passes from owner to owner and it falls out of pockets, gets people killed, gets found again by people it can control. Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. I mean, that covers a couple of things. That just nickling me.
Well, let's have a look at Rhys's predictions. Mark, do you have those?
Yeah. So the first one I picked up on was you thought that the guys from Helm's Deep would catch up and all the Fellowship will have a reunion. It's kind
yeah,
of that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
the very-
most of them met up at Isengard and then the rest met up at the end of the film. But yeah.
for the coronation at
Mention.
least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I felt that when I made that prediction, I think I felt that we would see them all with Frodo again before we got to Mount Doom. I thought Mount Doom would not just be Frodo and Sam.
Did you picture them like all fighting their way into Mount Doom?
I pictured they would be in like the caverns of Mount Doom, not like climbing up the side of it. I thought there'd be like an entrance to Mount Doom, and it would look like where Sauron made the ring, and Sauron was going to be there, and they were all going to have to fight Sauron together to like get to the fires of Mount Doom.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I don't think I got that prediction really, because the boys that were together have been together intermittently all throughout, really. Just Frodo and Sam were on their own, which I didn't expect, to be honest.
The next one you had was that the king in the title is King Theoden.
So close.
I'm guessing it's Aragorn, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't 100% sure, but yeah, I was off. I wouldn't have thought Aragorn was going to end up as royalty in this, or even be as important as he was. Looking back now, I know there were loads of hints that he was going to be a huge deal, but no, I didn't really see that coming at all, to be fair.
Well, Tolkien never wanted the third book to be called Return of the King. That was from his publishers. He wanted it to be called War of the Ring because he felt Return of the King gave away too much.
But apparently not.
I guess he gave a lot of credit to his fans, which is just as well, but he wasn't thinking about those 20 years later.
The next one you had was just a throwaway comment you made in between your predictions, which was that you hope Treebeard and the annoying hobbits die.
I mean, I didn't see Treebeard again. That was sound.
Good enough.
Happy with that.
Andy is hurt.
And yeah, do you know, I ended this movie not hating the annoying hobbits anymore, so I'm happy with the direction they took. I didn't see Treebeard again. The annoying hobbits stopped being annoying, really, so yeah, I was happy with that.
You predicted there'd be a new threat other than orcs and Uruk-hai and Sauron or Saruman. You expected something new, I guess. You had
Grond.
a giant spider, you had Grond, you had the new orc general.
Fell beasts were new?
Yeah, the eel dragons, not that they were new, but they were far more present in this. They were like a next level enemy, weren't they? Nothing was going to happen until they worked out to kill the eel dragons and the elephants and the boats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a decent one.
Yeah. You thought Sauron would manifest as a physical form and fight Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli?
Yeah, I was hoping that happened. I'm a bit gutted about that. I wanted a full-on Power Rangers fight.
Well, apparently it was going to happen in the original cut of the film, but didn't, so close enough. You thought Gollum will lead Frodo to a new threat. Frodo will nearly die. Sam will rescue him and carry him the rest of the way. I think you were way off
Spot
there.
on.
Couldn't be more right.
You also thought that the plot wouldn't develop much in this film. There may be a fourth or fifth film, e.g. the ring will still be in Frodo's possession in some way by the end of the film.
Yeah, I think as soon as I started watching this, someone in another WhatsApp group used the word trilogy and it kind of ruined it for me, to be honest. I was a bit spoiled. That was only just before I started the movie, to be fair, though.
And that was it for the predictions.
Nice.
Okay.
Not a bad one.
So now that you've watched all three of them, out of the three films, which is your favourite?
Oh, that's tough, actually. The Fellowship is still the worst one, in my view. And God, that's hard. It's got to be this one. It's got to be this one because I don't have to watch an hour and a half of trees talking slowly. Yeah. In my view, the battles were better in the second one. There was more fighting with the characters I care about. Like, there's more Gimli fighting, Legolas fighting, Aragorn fighting. But there was more battle in this one and more of those scenes that made me really feel and really get excited about what was happening. So it's got to be this one, yeah. It's got to be.
And how do you feel now about looking at other fantasy films going forward?
Yeah, I'm in. I'm all in. Like 100% in. I was worried about watching other fantasies while I still hadn't watched all three Lord of the Rings because I just got things confused and been like, what is an orc? And now that I'm happy this is all kind of boxed off, I will actively seek out some fantasy movies that I've been kind of putting off because I knew they were derivative of Lord of the Rings. I'm a fan of this genre. All the things it does that are unique to fantasy, like that culture building and world building and that lore behind it and the silly magic that just builds into things but creates the unexpected, like, were great. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'll definitely be looking for more similar things. So open to suggestions.
Are you now excited to watch The Hobbit?
Amy said something earlier that made me excited. Oh, there's dwarves in it. If there's more
Lots of
dwarves in The Hobbit, yeah, but
Shitload.
and I know The Hobbit has got Martin Freeman in it. So yeah, I actually think I'll really enjoy The Hobbit, I hope. It's got a really firm grounding now because I know a bit about it. And in general, since I've begun this journey of like watching the Lord of the Rings movies, I've been excited anytime I've seen something based on it. Anytime I've been to a fucking collectible shop and seen Lord of the Rings shit, I've been excited. I'm a genuine fan of the franchise, having seen each movie once. But because of this, podcast and taking notes, I've thought about these movies for hours on end. And it's really taken over a big part of my life. I'm a huge fan. I will call myself a big Lord of the Rings fan now. So if Hobbit's part of that world, I'm all in.
Okay.
Are you aware the next live-action Lord of the Rings film is out in 2027?
So what?
There is a live-action Lord of the Rings film out at the end of 2027. The Hunt for Gollum.
Oh,
No.
Okay. It's fine.
I can ignore that. It's fine. Well, apparently they confirmed Ian McKellen, Andy Serkis, and Elijah Wood for it, and it's Philippa Boyens, who was one of the writers for the 6 main films. So,
Oh, not for the Gollum 6 main films. I was like, what?
yeah, there's a 6-film anthology about Gollum.
just Gollum. No one else is in it.
17 hours of him battling fish.
Just making up riddles.
Andy Serkis' voice at the end is going to be fucked.
I'd love to go and see that at the cinema with Rhys, just to watch his confusion.
Oh, we could do that.
Have we missed anything?
Don't think so. I think if we're going to a sign-off now, it's going to be a short episode anyway, so we'll just wrap it up.
It's just going to be an edit.
Well, thank you for listening to our podcast. We've been on quite the epic quest. We've toppled a wizard. We've defended the walls of Gondor. We battled across the Pelennor field. We lost some friends along the way, but we managed to extinguish the shadow by casting the ring into Mount Doom. This has been Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. And don't forget, even the smallest amongst us can change the future for the better. So that's a goodbye from me. Goodbye from everyone else.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.